Hello and welcome to Chinese Novel Audiobook. Explore our playlist for more captivating novels, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new audiobook. Now, let's dive into today's story. Chapter 21 The Power of Rules, Perfect Inheritance. I have to say that Hongying has benefited a lot from Lu Changsheng's demonstration just now. Hongying sat cross-legged on the ground, comprehending the spear intent and the way of the spear remaining in the space. Soon, Hongying entered a state of epiphany. Time flies like a white horse. 5 days passed quickly. Yi Chubai was still consolidating his understanding in the room. Hongying is also in a state of epiphany. Lu Changsheng sat on the bench, and said sadly, "These two guys are practicing, and there is no one to cook for the teacher. Did they have to find an apprentice?" The voice just fell. On Hongying's side, there was a sense of gunplay soaring into the sky. Immediately opened his eyes, held the spear in his hand, and kept dancing. It is the first move in reincarnation marksmanship. At this time, Yi Chubai also came out of the hut, holding a wooden sword. Wisps of sword intentions linger around the body inadvertently. Extremely sharp. Junior sister, let's learn from each other. Yi Chu Beilong laughed and shot towards Hongying. Hongying also wanted to vent her anger at this moment, to consolidate the reincarnation marksmanship she had just learned. Also chuckled and greeted Yi Chubai. During the period, both Hongying and Yi Chubai suppressed their realm to the lowest level. The wooden sword and long spear in his hand have no aura blessing. There is only a confrontation between spear intent and sword intent. Suddenly, the sword aura on the cliff, the strength of the spear. The willow tree on the side was not affected at all, and even the leaves did not fall at all, they just fluttered gently with the sword energy. Yi Chubai backed away slightly, but a storm arose in his heart. Hongying's spear intent realm can be said to be far superior to his. During the sparring, it felt like Hongying was walking leisurely in the courtyard, not in a hurry. It can be said that Hongying didn't need to use all her strength at all. Although Hongying on the other side was very relaxed, she was also surprised by Yi Chubai's understanding of sword intent. After all, I have experienced 9 reincarnations. If I was at Yi Chubai's age, I probably wouldn't be able to beat him steadily. Okay, you guys stop fighting, hurry up and take the 9 turns to Yuan Dan. Lu Changsheng on the side said at the right time, strike while the iron is hot, and then break through. Hearing this, Hongying stopped her hands, put away her spear, sat cross-legged on the cliff, and absorbed the 9 turns into Yuandan. Suddenly, waves of samsara filled Hongying's body. And the power of reincarnation, straight into the sky, seems to be communicating with the rules of heaven and earth. However, this world no longer has the power of the rules of heaven and earth. The way of heaven collapses, how can there be the power of rules? Willow couldn't help but make a regretful sound. It's a pity, without the power of rules, even if you return to Yuan Dan after turning 9, you can't lead to the law of reincarnation, and you can't perfectly inherit the talents of the previous 9 lives. The little bird also flapped its wings and shook its little head. Lu Changsheng couldn't help being taken aback when he heard this. The power of rules. Since the system can give him those principles, does that mean that the system itself is a power of rules? Seems to have sensed Lu Changsheng's thoughts. Open black lens bracket. The host's guess is not wrong. The power of rules is to a certain extent, the system itself has it, and the host can use it at any time. Close black lens bracket. Hearing this, Lu Changsheng waved his hand, and suddenly a force that seemed to be able to affect everything in the world filled the surroundings of the thatched cottage. The willow branches of the willow tree began to swing, and said in surprise, "The power of rules. Have you mastered the power of rules?" And it's not the power of rules in this low-level dimension, it's more like a high-level dimension. However, for Willow, it was just a surprise. After all, the willow tree was formed from the universe, and it existed when the chaos first opened. Nobody knows how long it's been around. The little bird is also shocked. Those flaming red wings rose with phoenix flames. Under the power of this rule, the bird entered a state of epiphany. Yi Chubai also had a meal aside, and sat down cross-legged. The sword intent rose from the body, turning into a stream of sword energy, surrounding Yi Chubai's body. At the same time, Qingyun Sword is also sacrificed at this moment. The Tao on the sword actually began to echo the sword intent on Yi Chubai's body. Obviously, The power of rule summoned by Lu Changsheng had an impact on everyone. The other side. Hongying's 9 revolution samsara kung fu was running at full strength, and the meaning of samsara spread across the sky. However, like a headless chicken, it seems to be looking for something. Now, Lu Changsheng releases the power of rules. The meaning of reincarnation is like finding a target, actively approaching the power of rules, and starting to blend with it. Among them, there is actually the way of reincarnation and birth. The way of reincarnation comes out. Hongying can perfectly inherit the talent of the previous 9th life. Not too long. A white soul streaked across the sky like a shooting star. Small, into Hongying's body. Suddenly, the breath of the realm burst out. Water overflow mid-term. Immediately afterwards, the second soul blast came, rushing into Hongying's eyebrows. The breath soared again. Until the 4th track. Hongying's realm has broken through to the late stage of Shuiyijing. The meaning of reincarnation also began to solidify at this moment. 2 days later. The soul of the 9th generation has all merged into Hongying's body. Perfect inheritance. Breath also gradually became stable. The meaning of reincarnation is like the essence, filling Hongying's whole body. Finally, the realm reached the peak of Shuiyijing. Only 1 step away, you can reach the Guiyuan realm. Hongying opened her eyes and bowed respectfully to Lu Changsheng. Thank you, Master. Lu Changsheng shook his head and said, I didn't do anything. Hongying insisted, if it weren't for the guidance of the Master, then even if there is that elixir, it will not be able to inherit it perfectly. In this way, it is meaningless for me to practice the 9 revolutions of reincarnation kung fu. Lu Changsheng shrugged his shoulders and said, in this case, I will give you an errand. Hongying was overjoyed. She was afraid that Master would not want anything, would not ask for anything. This made Hongying feel like she couldn't help anything. She doesn't like this feeling. Master, just say it. Lu Changsheng nodded and said with a smile, then let's cook, I haven't eaten for a few days. Hongying. Well, Master does not lack anything. He only needs a cook. Yi Chubai also finished his epiphany at this moment, and couldn't help but laugh when he saw this scene, and said, Junior sister, just get used to it, Master is very low-key, so there is usually nothing wrong. Hearing this, Lu Changsheng stared and said, what do you mean nothing is wrong? How can you say that I am like a salted fish? Isn't it? Yi Chubai thought to himself, but he still didn't dare to say it. Okay, junior sister, I'll help you. Hongying nodded. Sudden. A figure appeared in front of Lu Changsheng. Longsheng, have you and your disciple been doing well during this time? It was Qin Tianan who came. After hearing this, Lu Changsheng said without thinking, I have something to do, and my 2 apprentices are fine. Qin Tianan. Yi Chubai. Hongying. Good guy. Without even thinking about it, I sold the 2 of them. Chapter 22 Undercurrent Surges. Qin Tianan looked at Hongying and Yi Chubai. Yi Chubai's cultivation base has now reached the Purple Mansion realm, he can tell at a glance. However, Hongying's cultivation made him feel like he couldn't see through it. Observing the past is like seeing a fog. This made Qin Tianan secretly startled. Thought, where did Changsheng accept his disciples? Why are all of them so monstrous? But it's not Qin Tianan's fault. With Qin Tianan's current cultivation base, it is actually very easy to see through the cultivation base of a junior. But Hongying is the former empress. How could there be no way to hide one's cultivation? Just talking about the methods of hiding cultivation, Hongying can come up with hundreds of them. There are no duplicate samples. This is the background of the great emperor. However, these backgrounds are not very effective on Lu Changsheng. It felt like Lu Changsheng had no desires or demands, and he took out everything. It's something she doesn't have, or something higher in level. This also made Hongying very helpless. Lu Changsheng looked at Qin Tianan and asked, Uncle Qin, what's the matter? Qin Tianan came to his senses and said with a smile, it's actually not a big deal. It's not a big deal, why come to us, the 2 of them still want to burn me, to practice. Hongying. Yi Chubai. They dared to bet that Master definitely wanted to talk about cooking just now. Qin Tianan was also full of helplessness, and said, before the 4 regions grand competition, there will be a secret trial in the southern region, and some of the ancient powerhouses will inherit it. This is also good for your 2 apprentices. Lu Changsheng had also heard about the trial of the secret realm in the southern region, touched his chin and said, "Is it the trial of the blood hell?" Rumored. In the blood prison, countless ancient strong men were imprisoned. Those strong men are in the blood prison, and some of them are dying. There are also people who have been drained of blood. This led to the inheritance of many strong people left in the blood prison. However, it is not so easy to get. Qin Tianan nodded and said, "The trial of the blood hell will start tomorrow, and there are already 2 places in your thatched cottage, just for Chubai and Hongying to go. There is also a cultivation limit there, and the highest cultivation level can only accommodate people in the Purple Mansion. Although Hongying has reached the peak of Shuiyi Jing, she has a way to suppress her cultivation." Without waiting for Lu Changsheng to answer, Hongying immediately said, "I'm going." Eyes are firm. Lu Changsheng glanced at Hongying, then nodded and said, "Then you two go, and practice more." Yi Chubai also had the same intention. At this moment, he just wanted to get in touch with outsiders. See it. Qin Tianan also nodded in satisfaction, and said, "Okay, get ready, Changsheng will take them there tomorrow." Lu Changsheng immediately refused. "I don't know the way." Qin Tianan. "You're so lazy. Okay, then I will let the elders pick you up tomorrow." After finishing speaking, Qin Tianan gave Lu Changsheng a helpless look, then turned and left. See Qin Tianan leave. Hongying looked at Lu Changsheng and said, "Master, why don't you ask me why I want to go?" Lu Changsheng said in surprise, "Why do I have to ask? You must have your own reasons for wanting to go." Hongying nodded, her eyes were far away, and she looked towards the sky, with a sense of regret. "There is one of my subordinates in the blood prison, I want to take a look." Hearing this, Lu Changsheng remained silent. After all, Hongying has gone through 9 reincarnations. It is normal for subordinates to die. Not to mention being in the blood prison. Go. Hongying bowed to Lu Changsheng, and then walked into the thatched cottage to practice alone. Seeing the sudden heavy atmosphere, Yi Chubai also wanted to practice, but was stopped by Lu Changsheng. "Where are you going?" "Cook for the teacher." "Oh." On the other hand, enemies. Yi Chubai should also participate in this blood prison trial. "Go, let Chu Libei prepare, be sure to kill him in the blood ***** trial." New. The Sunset Dynasty far away in the Northern Territory. Pear Garden. Zhang Chan is wearing a luxurious robe and a crown on his head. Sit in the courtyard. When she heard that Yi Chubai was not dead, there was a complex look in her eyes. However, more of a sigh of relief. At this time, someone outside pushed the door and entered. Seeing this, Zhang Chan's face was cold, and he stood up and gave a slight salute. "Prince." The eldest prince smiled when he saw this, and quickly stepped forward to help Zhang Chan up, saying, "There is no need for so many courtesies between you and me. After all, we are going to get married soon, between husband and wife, why is this so?" Zhang Chan didn't look happy when he heard this, but rather sad. Of course the first prince took all of this into consideration. Let go of his hand, and said meaningfully, "Yi Chubai will participate in the blood prison trial in the southern region." Zhang Chan couldn't help but look up at the first prince. The eldest prince continued, "I didn't get rid of Yi Chubai last time, this time I will send people to the southern region to participate in the blood prison trial." Zhang Chan's eyes were slightly condensed, but he didn't speak. At this time, saying one more word will bring more danger to Yi Chubai. The eldest prince sighed and said, "I know you still can't let him go, but you will be the one who wants to be the mother of the world in the future. I will never allow Yi Chubai to live in this world, do you know? He doesn't care whether Zhang Chan's heart belongs to him or not. Among the dynasties. False and false. There are so many things that I have to marry someone I don't like." The same is true for the first prince, he only needs someone from Zhang Chan. As for the heart, what it is. With power, with strength. Then get it all. Wait until the first prince leaves the Liyuan. Zhang Chan sighed and looked towards the sky, where there were dark clouds. Lightning scattered among the clouds like a brontosaurus. Sorry. Outside the pear garden, the eldest prince didn't look back, and a black figure suddenly appeared. Kneeling on the ground on one knee, waiting for the eldest prince's order. "Go to the blood hell for a trial, this time you must be safe and kill that Yi Chubai. Also, contact Shadow Killer and ask them to send people to blood prison at the same time." Wang Ying couldn't help being stunned. Eldest prince, sending our own people is not enough, why bother to send out shadow killing? Shadow Kill. An extremely mysterious killer organization in the Northern Territory. It is said that as long as the reward is in place, they dare to take on any task. Or a bunch of lunatics. However, the mission success rate of this group of lunatics has reached an astonishing 99%. The only failure was to assassinate the current king of the Sunset Dynasty. The fourth-ranked existence in the Four Domains martial arts list. That time, Shadow Killer directly lost half of its members, and even the owner of Shadow Killer was seriously injured. But, the lord of the country did not kill the shadows all at once. Instead, they spared their lives. Only condition is unconditionally working for the Sunset Dynasty. What reward is more important than human life? The Shadow Killer could only be forced to agree. The first prince grinned and said, I don't want any surprises, I heard that Yi Chubai's talent has returned. Although there is still no threat to me, but, the weeds must be cut by the roots. Chapter 23 Assemble. The next day. The blood hell trial is open. The elders of Changsheng came to the thatched cottage and took Hongying and Yi Chubai away. On the road, the elders of the Changsheng were still pulling Yi Chubai to ask questions. What have you learned from Lu Chengsheng recently? Didn't you slacken your practice of swordsmanship? If you really can't, you should come to my sword hall, and I will arrange the best kendo resources for you. Regarding this, Yi Chubai could only refuse with a wry smile. After all, everything I have now comes from Lu Changsheng. What's more, he doesn't think that the resources of the sword hall can produce such things as the Qingyun sword, good fortune pill, and absolute beginning sword manual. Hongying watched this scene and smiled slightly. She can also understand why the elders of the Changsheng are so eager for talents. After all, Yi Chubai's swordsmanship talent is indeed very high. Even if it is her. I have never seen anything more suitable for sword practice. Leaf Autumn White. She was born for the sword. Arrived at the entrance of the blood hell trial. Here, a crowd is already standing. Among them, you can see Huo Qingming, Xin Hongyi and others. Xin Hongyi saw Yi Chubai, was taken aback for a moment, and then walked over. Have you broken through to the Purple Mansion? After the blood prison, let's compete again. Yi Chubai smiled and nodded, but did not refuse. Hongying on the side couldn't help joking. That's right, senior brother is quite popular. Yi Chubai didn't know whether to laugh or cry, and said, Junior sister, don't make fun of me, it's just a result of my competitive spirit. Suddenly, Yi Chubai looked forward to the left. There was a murderous gaze looking over. After seeing the target person, Yi Chubai was taken aback. An enemy of the family. Chu Libei looked at Yi Chubai, sneered, put his hand on his neck, and made a gesture of wiping his neck. What? Someone wants your life. Hongying said from the side, do you want me to help you? Yi Chubai is her senior brother now, so naturally he has to take care of him. Yi Chubai was a little helpless. This made him feel that he was the younger brother and Hongying was the older sister. This is a bit embarrassing. Yi Chubai said, it's okay. These are all my own affairs, I'll take care of them. Hongying nodded. At this time, the elder of the Confucian Academy stepped forward and said to the crowd. This blood prison secret realm is not only important to the glory of the academy, but also a good opportunity for yourselves. It contains the inheritance of the ancient strong. As long as you inherit it, it will have a great effect on your own practice. Of course, the more important point is that the people in our academy should not kill each other. After entering, try to move forward as a group. Speaking of which, the elder Confucian president looked solemn, changed the subject, and said in a deep voice, the danger in it is opposite to the opportunity. I don't want to wait until you come out, and someone will stay in it forever. Okay, this time, the team leader is Zhang Wu. Suddenly, there was a man full of scholarly spirit, carrying a small bookshelf on his back. And the small bookshelf is full of books. Even Zhang Wu held a book in his hand. Huo Qingming stood next to Yi Chubai, and reminded, Zhang Wu is the elder brother of the Confucian Academy, and his strength has reached the peak of the Zifu realm. I heard that he is already the successor of the next president of the Confucian Academy. Yi Chubai nodded. Hongying was also slightly surprised, and said, there is actually a sage of calligraphy on this person. But it was just a surprise. Immediately afterwards, another man with a lupine came to Hongying's side. Miss, I will protect you when I go in later. The visitor is Lin Ce. Hongying glanced at it, but didn't answer. Lin Ce didn't care either, standing beside Hongying with a gentle smile on his face. Looking at Hongying, there was a burning feeling in his eyes. Since the last time Lu Changsheng took Hongying to meet Qin Tianan, Lin Ce saw it by chance. Lin Ce launched a crazy pursuit of Hongying. Yi Chubai had a strange expression on his face. Who will protect whom? My junior sister is a strong person at the peak of Shui Yijing. At this time, there is a huge ship coming in the sky. In front of the ship, there are two dragons pulling the ship forward. Is a ship of the Tianyuan dynasty. The ship slowly docked above the crowd. Huo Qingming shook his head and said, this Tianyuan dynasty is too flamboyant. As soon as the voice fell, several figures flew down. Huo Qingming, then we have the capital to make publicity. One of the leaders was wearing a brocade robe, which looked extremely luxurious. Huo Qingming snorted coldly and did not answer. That person didn't bother him anymore, he was from the Tibetan Taoist Academy after all. Their Tianyuan dynasty also had to pay 3 points of respect. The person headed by went to the door of the elder of the Confucian Academy, bowed and said, I have met you, sir. Almost, the princes of the Tianyuan dynasty, as well as the important officials in the court, have all listened to the lectures of the Confucian Academy. So this sir is not too much. The elder of the Confucian Academy nodded slightly, and said with a light smile, the sixth prince's cultivation has improved again, but he still needs to read more sage books. The sixth prince didn't show any arrogance, he nodded humbly and said, teach me, thank you sir. The dean of Confucianism nodded his head. Xin Hongyi curled her lips and said, the sixth prince Tianming likes to put on a show, but his strength is quite good, and he has reached the late stage of the Zifu realm. Yi Chubai nodded slightly when he heard it. At this moment, Tianming suddenly looked at Yi Chubai, and said inexplicably, this must be Yi Chubai, my Tianyuan city's arrogance back then. At that time, I heard that brother Chubai seemed to have lost his talent. Now that his talent has returned, he has joined the Tibetan Taoist Academy. He killed the heir of the enemy family with a single sword, and even killed Yi Yan in front of his ancestors. Yi Chubai narrowed his eyes when he heard the words. Although it doesn't sound like a problem. But it would be wrong for the sixth prince Tianming to tell these things in front of everyone. This is killing. Sure enough, countless people cast their gazes over. The Chou family also looked at Yi Chubai. The killing intent in his eyes is even stronger. Hongying jokingly said, brother, have you offended him? Yi Chubai shook his head, he was also very puzzled, obviously he had never seen it before. At this time, on the ship, several figures appeared again. Those people were all wearing a golden armor. And on the top of the helmet, a sun logo is printed. Yi Chubai shrank his eyes when he saw it. Huo Qingming was surprised. Xin Hongyi was also quite puzzled. Why did people from the Sunset Dynasty come to the southern region? Yi Chubai understood. Why didn't I even meet the sixth prince Tianming? Will become hostile to themselves. The moment Yi Chubai saw the Sunset Dynasty, he understood everything. I couldn't help but feel a surge of anger in my heart. Zhang Chan, are you restless if I don't die? When it is completed in the future, I will definitely kill the Sunset Dynasty by the sword. And Hongying also learned about the Sunset Dynasty from Lu Changsheng. Can't help showing killing intent in his eyes. Today, Yi Chubai is her senior brother. Then it is not an exaggeration to say that they are relatives if they are in the same vein as her. So, the people of this emperor are also people you can touch. In Hongying's heart, the people of the Sunset Dynasty have already been posted as the King of Hell. Chapter 24 Strong. There are a total of 4 people on the Sunset Dynasty side. The 4 of them are all at the peak of Zifu realm. Moreover, there is a killing intent surrounding her body. Obviously, these 4 people were trained in the sea of corpses and blood. At the same time, behind the 4 people, there are 3 men in black. The man in black seemed to use a special treasure to cover up all the aura of his cultivation. It makes people unable to feel its existence. The leader said in a deep voice, according to the agreement, our Sunset Dynasty occupies 7 places in the Tianyuan dynasty to participate in the Southern Blood Hell trial. Afterwards, he sneered and said, let's also take a look at the strength of the southern barbarian. Among the other three domains, the southern region is far behind because of its overall strength. It is called the southern wilderness by others. The people in the southern wilderness are also called barbarians. Tianming's eyes showed a hint of anger, but he could only hold back his anger. Someone from the Tibetan Taoist Academy shouted angrily, barbarian. It doesn't mean how strong your northern territory is, right? Some sect forces snorted coldly and said, although there is a gap, I don't think the gap is too big, right? Your Excellency is too big. The person in charge sneered and said, whether you have any doubts or not, why don't you give it a try? HMPH, then let me try it. Immediately, Ming Yangzong Tianzhao rushed towards that person. This Tianzhao of the Mingyang sect is also a person at the peak of the Purple Mansion realm. With one palm, the palm print has the power of Yang Yan. A stream of flames is like burning everything, distorting the entire space. Okay. Ming Yangzong's Yang Yan palm is really powerful. The person on the other side looks down on his people from the southern region so much, I'm afraid it will suffer. Mingyang sect, it is also a top sect in the southern region. Yi Chubai's face was serious. In his opinion, the leader is not simple. Just the evil spirit tempered in the sea of corpses and blood can make people feel suffocated. And this kind of person, how could it be simple? I'm afraid I will lose. As expected, the Yang Yan palm of Ming Yangzong Tianzhao approached, and the person from the Sunset Dynasty pointed out. Small tricks, break it for me. Suddenly, that evil spirit erupted from his fingers. The palm print of Yang Yan was penetrated in an instant. Ming Yangzong Tianzhao was taken aback for a moment, and just wanted to back away. But he didn't want to, the other party came directly here. That killing intent burst out with all its strength. Directly enveloped the Mingyang sect Tianzhao. I saw Tianzhao of Mingyang sect's eyes suddenly lost, and his face showed panic. Even the sense of resistance disappeared immediately. The people of the Sunset Dynasty sneered, and punched out. Like a wild beast. The momentum is terrifying. Immediately, it landed heavily on the chest of Ming Yangzong Tianzhao. Click click click. In just a moment, there was the sound of sternum breaking. At the same time, that day's pride is also spurting out blood. The blood even contained fragments of internal organs. Fly upside down like a kite off the line. I saw Tianzhao of the Mingyang sect fell on the ground and lost his breath. Instant kill with one move. Just a punch. But the power of that punch made countless people feel frightened. The power of this punch. It is definitely not something that ordinary people at the peak of the Purple Mansion realm can issue. How dare you kill my Mingyang sect member? In an instant, an elder rushed out from Ming Yangzong's side. The person who was killed just now is the next suzerain successor of their Mingyang sect. In order to cultivate him, how much resources Ming Yangzong spent. And being killed now will cause Ming Yangzong to suffer heavy losses, and there may be a state of failure. This is undoubtedly a huge blow to a top sect. When the elders of Ming Yangzong made a move, the people of the Sunset Dynasty also showed serious expressions. After all, the opponent is a strong Qi realm. The four gathered together and stood in the four directions of east, west, south, east, and north. Four evil spirits soared into the sky at this moment. Immediately began to blend. A huge sea of blood filled this space. The attack of the elders of Mingyang sect is coming. The four punched out at the same time. That sea of blood turned into a giant fist, blasting towards the elder of Mingyang sect. Boom. The moment of confrontation. Blood is boiling. The face of the elders of Ming Yangzong also changed drastically. He thought that if he did it himself, no matter what, he could crush these people at the peak of the Zifu realm. However, when the four of them joined forces, their strengths fused. This is not as simple as addition, but the multiplication of strength. Ming Yangzong elder felt that he was not facing four juniors, but a big devil who killed countless people. The strong murderous intent even affected the mind of the elder. Heart trembling. Puff. When confronting each other, if you lose your mind for a moment, then the winner will be decided. The elder Ming Yangzong's heart trembled instantly, and he was swallowed by that giant fist. Ah! There was an extremely sharp scream. Everyone looked at this scene and couldn't help but look terrified. The peak of the Purple Mansion can crush the elders at the peak of the Qi realm. although 4 people shot together. But the gap between Qixi realm and Zifu realm cannot be made up by the number of people. But a moment. The elder of Mingyang sect was completely swallowed by the giant fist. No life. Is that all? Looking at this scene, the elder of the Confucian Academy finally couldn't stand it anymore, and couldn't help frowning. You guys are too presumptuous. It's just a normal exchange of knowledge, but it's killing people. After finishing speaking, the Confucian president whispered softly, breaking the devil. Suddenly, that wave of sound swept through the giant fist. The giant fist scattered in a rush. The body of the elder of Ming Yangzong also fell on the side of Ming Yangzong. Someone cupped his fists at the elder of the Confucian Academy to express his gratitude. The 4 members of the Sunset Dynasty retreated one after another, with blood dripping from the corners of their mouths, but they were unwilling and sneered. Do you southern barbarians only bully the small with the big? The elder of the Confucian Academy frowned. The man in armor continued, if the 4 of us are kept here in an equal state, I think the dynasty will not say anything, but... Speaking of this, the man couldn't help showing a sneer, and a murderous intent flashed in his eyes. However, if we are killed in this way, I am afraid that the iron cavalry of our Sunset Dynasty will set foot in the southern region in the future. This is a threat. Naked threats. But everyone had to accept it. There is no other reason. Just because the Sunset Dynasty has bigger fists. The Lord of the Sunset is the 4th superpower in the 4 regions martial arts list. No one can accept the revenge of the Sunset Dynasty. Even the elder of the Confucian Academy just snorted coldly and stopped attacking. The dean of their academy, Qin Tianan, is only ranked 26th, obviously not the opponent of the Sunset Dynasty. What's more, the academy will not participate in secular disputes. Ming Yangzong could only leave sadly at this moment. The heir of the clan died, and the leader of the clan was also killed. They are no longer eligible to participate in this trial. At this time, the old man of the Tianyuan dynasty said, everyone, the farce is over, and it's getting late. It's time to open the Blood Prison Secret Realm. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. Chapter 25 Heavenly Demon Assessment. Opening of the Blood Prison Secret Realm. It needs to be joined by several strong people from the water overflow. The elder of the Confucian Academy flew into the air. Working together with several other water overflowing powerhouses, suddenly, the world showed blood at this moment. In the endless crack in front of him, a blood-colored earth appeared. At the same time, at the end of the land, there seems to be a series of prisons suppressing it. In each prison, there is a dead bone sitting. Among the countless dry bones, there is a burst of extremely powerful coercion. Even if it is not fully opened, it can be felt by everyone. The elder of Confucianism explained in the air, the secret realm can only accommodate people who are in the Zifu realm and below. Once they exceed the Zifu realm, they will be attacked by the coercion in the secret realm. Next, you can enter, but after a month, you must come out, otherwise the secret realm will be closed and you will be left inside. Once you are locked in it, you can only wait for a year to open it again. Of course, you may not be able to live until that time. Okay, you can go in. Suddenly, countless disciples broke into it. Tianming, the 6th prince of the Tianyuan dynasty, glanced at Yi Chubai inexplicably, and said, I can do it myself. Before the people from the Sunset Dynasty went in, they also took a deep look at Yi Chubai. The Cho-Cho set up a monument, and walked in with the Cho-Cho. Before going in, he glanced at Yi Chubai, the murderous intent in his eyes was undisguised. Standing beside Yi Chubai, Hongying couldn't help laughing and said, Senior brother, it seems that you have many enemies. Yi Chubai spread his hands helplessly, and said, I can't help it. I didn't take the initiative to provoke others. They provoked me. Hongying nodded, it's a mediocrity not to attract envy, but just cut off the person who provokes you. My junior sister's character is really decisive. Yi Chubai also agreed, nodded with a smile and said, okay, let's go in too, we must bring some opportunities out, and help the master to look up. Heard the words. Hongying thought of her master's character that a dead pig is not afraid of boiling water. She couldn't help twitching the corners of her mouth, and said helplessly, I'm afraid our master won't care about this. Yi Chubai couldn't help being amused. 2. Meanwhile, the other side. Lu Changsheng was basking in the sun on the deck chair. Suddenly, he opened his eyes and turned to the east. There is the direction of the blood prison secret realm. Huh. How can there be a feeling of heart palpitations? This palpitation is not about you. It's about people close to you. Lu Changsheng may not be aware of it, but with his current strength, he can predict some crises in advance. In the secret realm of blood prison, Yi Chubai and Hongying are over there. There are only these two apprentices who have a relationship with him. Could something happen to them? Lu Changsheng is not a cold-blooded and heartless person. After all, he is his own disciple. Not to mention they can cook. Thinking of this, Lu Changsheng turned around and disappeared in place. The secret territory of blood prison. Hongying said to Yi Chubai, I really don't need you to solve it for me. The opponent's strength is still quite difficult for you. Yi Chubai said helplessly, it's okay, junior sister, you have other things to do, go quickly, besides, I want to solve this matter by myself. Hongying saw the firmness in Yi Chubai's eyes, so she stopped trying to persuade her. Throw out a jade pendant engraved with a picture of a phoenix spreading its wings. Yi Chubai took it, only to hear Hongying say, when you encounter danger, remember to crush the jade pendant, there will be a defensive formation, which can prevent the blow of the strong fighters from the 4 domains. Yi Chubai was taken aback. 4 regions martial arts list, isn't that a full-strength blow like the dean of the Tibetan Taoist Academy and the king of the Sunset Dynasty? Yi Chubai did not refuse any more, and nodded. Seeing this, Hongying said, senior brother, take care, and flew towards the distance. Yi Chubai took a deep breath. Look around. A desert. The soil on the ground was full of blood. It seemed to be soaked in a sea of blood. The smell of blood was so strong that it even made Yi Chubai feel a little pungent. I'm afraid this is not just a prison. It is a battlefield. Yi Chubai walked aimlessly on this land. Suddenly, a dark sword energy began to burst out of my heart. Yi Chubai was taken aback. This is the unique sword energy of cultivating the heavenly demon 9 swords. The black sword energy extended towards one direction at this moment. It seemed to be calling Yi Chubai to go over. Could it be that something is calling for the heavenly demon 9 swords? Thinking of this, Yi Chubai walked towards the place where the sword energy extended. The call of the black sword energy in the body became stronger and stronger. At the same time, the blood on the ground began to fade. Is replaced by black. The earth began to slowly transition into pitch black. Gradually. Not far away, a huge black prison appeared in front of Yi Chubai. This cage seems to communicate with the whole world, it is huge. The black iron pillars soared into the sky like they were holding up the sky. At the same time, on the periphery of the black iron pillar, circle after circle of golden chains surrounded. What kind of strong people are going to be imprisoned, and the cage is made like this? What is the strength of the detainees? The end of the black sword energy is in this cage. Yi Chubai looked along the sword energy, and there was a bone sitting cross-legged in the center of the cage. The bone was surrounded by black aura. That aura is like sword aura. It seems weak, but Yi Chubai can feel it. This black breath is extremely dangerous. But the aura contained in it made Yi Chubai feel friendly again. Thinking of this, Yi Chubai was already sure. This corpse must have something to do with the heavenly demon 9 swords. Yi Chubai stepped forward. Suddenly, the black aura on that corpse skyrocketed. Wrap the entire corpse in it. Immediately, Yi Chubai's eyes froze. After the black aura dissipated, the corpse had disappeared. It was replaced by a young man in a white robe with long black hair blowing in the wind. However, in contrast, the sword in the man's hand was pitch black. The man spoke. Have you practiced the demonic 9 swords? Yi Chubai was taken aback for a moment, then clasped his fists together and said, this junior has indeed practiced the demonic 9 swords. The man nodded, and said, then you can be regarded as the successor of this seat, but if the inheritance of this seat is not passed on to people with uncertain temperament, you still need to accept the assessment. If the assessment fails, then stay here forever. After finishing speaking, the man pointed out lightly with his finger. Suddenly, the world in front of Yi Chubai completely changed. The cage surrounded by golden chains disappeared. The man did not know where he went. The scene changes again. A large crowd suddenly appeared in front of Yi Chubai. Those people have no face, and hold a tattered sword in their hands. Like a black cloud, it swept towards Yi Chubai. There is only one assessment, and that is to kill all these people. Kill all these people in front of you. Although there are many people, there is no realm. Just mortals. Yi Chubai was puzzled why a man would give such an assessment. However, Yi Chubai will not sit still and kill the crowd with a wooden sword in his hand. The wooden sword in his hand kept swinging. Sword chi continued to spread wantonly around. Those mortals will be directly strangled just by being touched by the sword energy. For a while, flesh and blood. However, Yi Chubai's whole body is protected by spiritual energy, and his flesh and blood cannot be stained in the slightest. But, whenever Yi Chubai beheaded those faceless people, there will be other faceless people to fill the vacancy immediately. Seemingly fearless, they kept rushing forward like moths to the flame. Yi Chubai kept dancing the wooden sword in his hand. Jian Chi Huahe, harvesting lives among the faceless crowd. At this moment, Yi Chubai seemed to have turned into a ***** of death. Soon. Half a day has passed outside. Yi Chubai's expression has become serious. Because he found that these people have not decreased in the slightest. It is still crowded with people, it is dark, and there is no end in sight. Saw this. Yi Chubai couldn't help thinking to himself, wouldn't this be a test to see if he would be consumed to death? Thinking of this, Yi Chubai began to consciously control the spiritual energy not to leak out. At the same time, he also removed the spiritual body protection, allowing the flesh and blood to stain himself. In order to save the aura in the body as much as possible. I don't know where. The man in white robe looked at this scene, and the corners of his mouth couldn't help twitching. Unfortunately, I guessed wrong. After a day, Yi Chubai's whole body was covered in blood. Even, under the fresh blood, there is already a layer of armor made of blood scabs. The wooden sword in his hand also gradually became numb. Wave. Kill. Wave again. Kill again. Repeatedly, without stopping. Like a killing machine. However, the faceless crowd was still black and dense, showing no signs of decreasing. Still flocking to Yi Chubai like moths to a flame. Yi Chubai had no choice but to slash the wooden sword in his hand again. 2 days later. Still the same. Yi Chubai's eyes have begun to become numb. The crowd still has no end. 4 days later. Still the same. It's now. Yi Chubai did not know how many days had passed. It's just that the sword energy surrounding Yi Chubai is already full of evil spirit. The numb eyes have also changed. There is actually a streak of rage, and a trace of bloodthirsty. I don't know how long it has passed. Yi Chubai's movements changed. No longer as numb as before. Instead, he began to slash with all his strength. The sword energy was completely berserk, tearing apart the surrounding crowd. If you look carefully, you can see a smile on the corner of Yi Chubai's mouth at this moment. That's right. Now Yi Chubai is laughing silently. Kill. Kill. Kill me. I don't know where. The white-robed man looked at this scene, sighed, and shook his head in disappointment. The third person who came here still couldn't pass the examination. Forget it, let's wait a little longer. Men are proud. He created such sword techniques as Tianmo 9 swords. In ancient times, he was a well-known strong man. Known as the Heavenly Demon Sword Master. Therefore, he will not pass on his inheritance to those who are uncertain. Not to mention, those who are not determined enough will not be able to inherit his inheritance. Suddenly, the man in white robe looked in Yi Chubai's direction, and said thoughtfully, it seems interesting. At the moment, Yi Chubai's violent sword aura did not diminish. However, the murderous intent in his eyes began to fade away. In turn, it began to become clear. It is Kenshin aura. Swordsman, be indomitable. There is revenge for revenge, and there is resentment for resentment. But it cannot be a machine for murder and revenge. Yi Chubai remembered his own way of swordsmanship. I remembered the teachings my master taught me. I also thought of my own understanding of Kendo during this journey. At the same time, the Sword Sutra of Taichu also started running at full speed. Strains of sword energy rushed into the meridians, and began to wash away the bloodthirsty intentions. Boom. Breath suddenly soared. Yi Chubai has broken through to the middle stage of Zifu realm. The heart of the sword is clear, and there is that unknown skill. Watching this scene, the white-robed man couldn't help but smile and said, yes, it seems to be a good seedling. Yi Chubai's eyes became clearer. The sword in his hand was not as heavy as before, and became lighter. Gradually, Yi Chubai also understood the true meaning of this assessment. 9 Swords of Heavenly Demon. It is full of magic, a kind of sword technique of mass destruction. If there is no practitioner, the will is not strong enough. Then, sooner or later, you will be controlled by the devil. The voice just fell. The faceless man beside Yi Chubai disappeared in an instant. The huge cage surrounded by golden chains also reappeared in front of Yi Chubai's eyes. The white-robed man looked at Yi Chubai, and said with satisfaction, I never thought that you could have the sword heart at such a young age, and that skill is also extremely mysterious. The Sword Sutra of Taichu. Yi Chubai still can't comprehend it. However, my own strength is brought about by the Sword Sutra of Absolute Beginning. Who the asterisk is master? Can you come up with such a skill? Thinking of this, I couldn't help but admire Lu Changsheng even more. The man in the white robe continued, since you have reached the state of sword heart clarity, it means that you can maximize the power of the 9 swords of the demon, and you can also hand over the last 5 swords to you. Hearing this, Yi Chubai was taken aback for a moment, then scratched his head and said, that. Senior, I have already learned the next 5 swords. Ah. The man in the white robe was dumbfounded. The sword manual of the following 5 swords has always been in my hands and has never been leaked. How can you learn it? Yi Chubai showed reverence on his face, and said, it's my master. He showed the 5 swords behind, and then passed them on to me. How can it be? The man in white robe exclaimed, then quickly show the last 5 swords. Senior, my strength is not enough to cut the last 5 swords. As soon as the words fell, the man in the white robe directly turned into a wisp of black mist, escaping into the center of Yi Chubai's eyebrows. Yi Chubai's expression was shocked, and his pupils turned into pitch black. Immediately picked up the wooden sword and cast the demonic 9 swords. It seems to destroy the world. But how long? The man in white robe escaped from between Yi Chubai's eyebrows. His expression was shocked. How is this possible? Compared with the demonic 9 swords of this seat, it is more perfect and more powerful, and even the side effects are completely gone. It can be said that your master's perfect heavenly demon 9 swords has completely transcended, and is of a higher level than this seat's heavenly demon 9 swords. However, since the collapse of the heavens, how could such characters appear again in this world? Could it be possible that your master was from ancient times? Yi Chubai scratched his head, thought for a while and said, probably not, my master seems to be quite young, and I have to eat every day, so I'm too lazy. Chapter 27 9 Heavens Division. The sky is filled with blood mist. The earth is pitch black. In the sky-lifting cage, a white-robed man seemed a little dull. Listen to what Yi Chubai said. His master should not be from the ancient times, and at the same time, he is an extremely lazy person. Man thought. A person who can deduce the last 5 swords of the heavenly demon 9 swords and make up for all the shortcomings. Shouldn't it be a sword master who slays immortal demons and ghosts? Besides, what does it mean to be too lazy to cook for yourself? At this level, you can already eat bigu, even if you don't eat for thousands of years, you won't feel hungry. The white-robed man couldn't help shaking his head helplessly, and said, I don't even know what to pass on to you when you're like this. The way of swordsman pondering his whole life is all included in the 9 swords of heavenly demon. Now it has been deduced by others. And even better. What else did he pass on? Correct. The man in the white robe seemed to have remembered something, and picked up the black long sword in his hand. Since you no longer need the heavenly demon 9 swords, I will give you this sword. Yi Chubai looked at the long black sword in the man's hand. The long sword has no front, but there is an imperceptible dark energy lingering on it. No front wins with front. It is a sword full of magic. I am afraid that if it is mastered by ordinary sword cultivators, it will be dominated by this magic in an instant. The white-robed man showed love in his eyes, as if looking at a lover. He gently stroked the pitch-black long sword in his hand, and said, the name of this sword, Dark Demon, and its grade should be a treasure at the peak of the heavenly rank, but it is a pity that Dark Demon doesn't have it. Sword Spirit, if there is a sword spirit, it can be turned into a spiritual weapon. Treasure, as the name suggests, is extremely precious. The man in the white robe looked proud. This is the sword that he has kept in his body for thousands of years. Has reached the pinnacle of the treasure. Yi Chubai took over the dark demon. It is indeed a good sword. The most important thing is that this dark demon is the sword he can control now, and it can perfectly fit the 9 swords of heavenly demon. Using this dark demon to use the demon 9 swords, the power will also increase by 30 to 40%. However, compared to Qingyun sword, I am afraid that there is still a lot of distance behind. It seems that he saw Yi Chubai's troubled expression. The man in white robe couldn't help but his face froze, and asked cautiously, "Your master won't give you something better than this dark magic?" Heard the words. Yi Chubai hesitated a little, and took out Qingyun sword. The man in the white robe. He could feel that this sword was probably more terrifying than the legendary spiritual weapon. Because of the aura on it, even he couldn't see through it. The white-robed man took a deep breath and said, "Okay, let's go with this sword." What kind of person is able to deduce his own sword skills, and can also produce a treasure of this level? I am afraid that the strength is far beyond my own. Yi Chubai bowed deeply to the man in white robe, turned and left with the sword in hand. The white-robed man looked at Yi Chubai's back, and regretfully said, "It's a pity, I was born in an era when the way of heaven collapsed." The voice just fell. The black mist surrounding the man dissipated. Turned into a pile of dry bones again, sitting in the center of the cage. On the other hand, Hongying has gone deep into the blood prison. Here, the ground has returned to its normal color. It's just that there are cages all around. The cages shot up into the sky, surrounded by countless golden chains. In the cage, the breath is extremely terrifying. As a result, this space is full of coercion, as if it is real. If the strength is unbearable, I am afraid that it will be directly crushed into pieces. Hongying ignored the coercion of this place and kept walking forward. Until you come to a place. The cage here is different from the previous ones. The color of the cage is no longer the color of black iron, but a golden color. The chains are not surrounded on the outside, but circle inside. On the chain, it was covered with talisman paper. On the talisman paper, there is a word, town, engraved. This is the soul lock chain. Is the supreme magic weapon used to calm the soul. Even if the body of the suppressed person is destroyed, the soul will be suppressed forever. Hongying showed anger. How dare they suppress you in this way? As if feeling Hongying's aura, the soul lock chain moved slightly, and there was an ethereal sound in it, like a candle in the wind, which would disappear with a slight touch. Your Majesty, is that you? Hearing this voice, Hongying nodded and said, "It's me." There was ecstasy in the voice, but it was still weak. In this case, then Your Majesty's 9-turn reincarnation has been cultivated successfully. There are noble people to help. Hongying thought of Lu Changsheng. Without the help of Lu Changsheng, I am afraid that my 9-turn reincarnation kung fu will end in failure. Then, the subordinates desperately escorted me to fall into reincarnation safely. All this hard work will go to waste. Oh. Is there someone in this world who can help His Majesty? Could it be that old bald donkey in the west? Hongying shook her head. No. Could it be that lunatic from the demon realm? Hongying still shook her head. They still can't help me, that person is now my master. The voice fell. There was no sound in the soul chain. After a while, an unbelievable sound came out. After the way of heaven collapses, is there anyone else qualified to be Your Majesty's teacher? Hongying shook her head, remembering that although Lu Changsheng was not doing a good job on weekdays, but it has the means to reach the sky. I am afraid that even in ancient times, there were peak figures. Okay, let's not talk about this for now. This emperor came here to confirm one thing. Having said this, Hongying's face became serious, and there was a chill in her eyes. After going out, I will reshape your physical body, you can choose to live the life you want, and you will be free. After all, these subordinates have been fighting with him all year round. Thousands of years have passed, and I don't know if I still want to follow myself. At this time, the soul lock chain began to tremble violently. The weak voice in it is also like a flash of light. Back then, our 9 Heavens Department accompanied His Majesty to fight in the heavens, trying to break the barrier of this world and step out of this space. It didn't work out, we failed. But we have always believed that His Majesty will come again, lead our 9 Heavens Department, and lead the Yunwang Empire to fight against the heavens again. Nine Heavens Department, Yun Ce, see your majesty. Hearing this, Hongying already understood the meaning of the soul in prison. Okay, this time I will fight against the heavens again, and this emperor will surely succeed. The glory of this emperor is your glory. When the emperor's strength recovers, you will be separated from this place, so you need to stay a little longer. Laughing came from the chains. After so many years, Yun Ce is waiting for his majesty to come again. On the day of the second coming, the nine heavens will fight against his majesty again. Chapter 28 Siege. Beyond the blood prison secret realm. In the past, various forces would fear each other. Now, there is an arrogant and domineering outsider, and they condense together to guard against the people of the Sunset Dynasty. The leader of the Sunset Dynasty is a general. His name is also called General, and he is the leader of the Shira Iron Cavalry of the Sunset Dynasty. Passed on. The Shira Iron Cavalry is the ace army of the Sunset Empire. There are 1,000 people in the army, and each of them has reached the Purple Mansion realm. Although they can't make further progress with pills, the Purple Mansion realm is the Purple Mansion realm after all. At the same time, everyone in the Shira cavalry is brave and fearless, and they are all equipped with mysterious treasures. This made it impossible for Shira's iron cavalry to grow any grass. Even if it is at the air-sea level, it will be swallowed instantly. The water is overflowing, I am afraid it will not be able to compete head-on. As for the general, he commanded the entire Shira cavalry, so one can imagine how high his status is in the Sunset Dynasty. At the same time, the strength is beyond doubt. Is the peak powerhouse of Shui Yi Jing consistent with the realm of the elders of Confucianism? The general looked around, and found that everyone's aura was locked on him. It seems that as long as the general makes any moves, everyone will be bombarded and killed with all their strength. Seeing this, the general couldn't help but smiled contemptuously, and said arrogantly, "Are you trying to keep me here? But, when the Shira cavalry sets foot in the southern region, can you resist it?" Besides, the people of Tianyuan dynasty smiled flatteringly. The Sunset Dynasty and our Tianyuan dynasty have been on good terms all year round. Everyone, there is no need to be so defensive. Seeing this scene, the elders of the Jiantang cast a contemptuous glance, then withdrew their eyes. The elder Confucian president didn't seem to hear, he just looked at the book in his hand. From time to time, he will fall into deep thought, and sometimes he will show a smile enjoying the solution of the mystery. Zhangdao Academy will not participate in power struggles in the world after all, so what is the relationship between the Tianyuan dynasty and the Sunset Dynasty? Or the Tianyuan dynasty wanted to hug the thigh of the Sunset Dynasty? Has nothing to do with Tibetan Taoist Academy. The others glared. But he was angry and dared not speak. After all, they are afraid of the strength of the Sunset Dynasty. Here, only Tibetan Taoist Academy has the qualifications to contend with it. However, Tibetan Taoist Academy has no idea of making a move. Without the early birds, they naturally dare not move easily. Seeing this, the general couldn't help but sneered. To be honest, he still wished that this group of people would attack him. Then the Sunset Dynasty will be able to become famous and set foot in the southern region. On the other side, Yi Chubai encountered a group of unexpected guests. Yi Chubai, are you finally willing to show up? I don't know where you've been hiding these past few days, but let us find it easily. Yi Chubai looked at the man in front of him, and said calmly, Chu Libei, I'm afraid you still can't kill me. Speaking of this, Chu Libei didn't even object. Instead, he nodded in agreement and said, indeed, if you want to escape, I'm afraid I won't be able to keep you, but. Before he finished speaking, several people surrounded Yi Chubai and surrounded him. The four of them were wearing armor, with murderous intent all over their bodies. It's like stepping out of a mountain of corpses in a sea of blood. People from the Sunset Dynasty. Yi Chubai frowned slightly. He knew why Chu Libei was so confident in beheading himself. However, this is not enough to make Yi Chubai afraid. What he was afraid of was the figure in black behind the four people before. Those people have disappeared since they entered the blood prison secret realm. I haven't seen it yet. It is precisely because of this that Yi Chubai feels uneasy in his heart. Jianshou's perception of danger is very accurate. The armored man sneered. Although we Sunset Dynasty disdain to cooperate with other people, we must ensure that the success rate of the mission reaches 100%. Hearing this, Chu Libei snorted coldly, but didn't say anything. After all, he is not the opponent of these people. Yi Chubai took out the wooden sword, with a calm face, without showing any panic, and said, "Okay, if you want to make a move, do it." Chu Libei snorted coldly, extremely arrogant. As soon as the voice fell, Chu Libei stepped on the ground suddenly, and the dark red ground kicked up bursts of dust, shooting towards Yi Chubai. Seeing this, Yi Chubai pierced out with the wooden sword in his hand, and a sharp sword chi slashed towards Chu Libei with a terrifying momentum. Chu Libei let out an angry roar, and the fist in his hand actually produced streams of air pressure, moving towards Yi Chubai's sword energy to meet him. Boom! The sword energy shattered. The figure of Chu Libei also retreated violently. The fist in his hand was stabbed with a blood hole. Chu Libei covered his fists, and blood flowed from between his fingers. How can this be? I am the pinnacle of the Purple Mansion realm. Yi Chubai in front of him is only in the middle stage of Zifu realm. A realm was interrupted in the middle, but he was able to injure himself so easily. What a waste. The armored man from the Sunset Dynasty shouted coldly and said, "No wonder you want to cooperate with us." After finishing speaking, the square armored man unleashed his power at the same time. Killing intent swept towards Yi Chubai like a sea of blood. It's like a tsunami. Only. The current Yi Chubai has passed the assessment of the demon. Killed for days and nights in that situation. It didn't crush him even then. How could this killing intent affect his mind? Yi Chubai held a wooden sword and soared into the sky. One sword after another slashed out, turning into a net of sword energy, slashing to all directions. The monstrous sea of blood was cut into countless cracks. However, there was another round of blood to make up for it. With the joint efforts of the four of them, the power has already surpassed the Zifu realm. This kind of attack method can even kill people in the Qixi realm. Seeing this, Yi Chubai put away the wooden sword, and picked up a pitch-black long sword without a front. Dark Demon. When the Dark Demon was sacrificed, waves of monstrous demonic energy swept across the world. It turned out to be a confrontation with the monstrous sea of blood. The expressions of the four people on the periphery couldn't help but change. Treasure of heaven. A mere southern barbarian, how could there be a heavenly treasure? However, so what, as long as we kill it, this heavenly treasure will be ours. As soon as the voice fell, the four people's hands changed again. The monstrous sea of blood turned into a giant fist, blasting towards Yi Chubai. Yi Chubai snorted coldly. 9 demon swords, the third sword. Immediately. Dark demon sword has a monstrous demonic energy. A huge black sword energy slashed towards the giant fist. Boom boom boom. The aftermath swept around. Chu Libei looked at this scene with disbelief in his eyes. He has no right to intervene in this kind of power struggle. Any attack can kill him. How could Yi Chubai possess such strength? Could it be that there was a chance in the blood prison? However, even if this is the case, they shouldn't be the opponents of the four members of the Sunset Dynasty, right? The next moment, that giant fist was cut in half. Exclamation mark. Chapter 29 Shadow Killer. The weather in Blood Prison is different from the outside world. The sky in the secret territory is always blood red, without sunlight. The giant fist was sliced through with a single sword, causing the people of the Sunset Dynasty to look frightened. You know, they didn't hold back this blow. Its power is enough to bombard the strong in the murderous sea. The elders of Ming Yangzong died under this blow. And Yi Chubai is only in the middle stage of Zifu realm, inferior to them. How could it be possible to block this punch? Chu Libei on the side thought the same way. Under this punch, even he definitely has no strength to resist. But Yi Chubai not only blocked it, but also cut it through. Thinking of this, Chu Libei's face turned ugly, and at the same time he was a little glad that he didn't find Yi Chubai alone. On the other hand, Yi Chubai didn't care whether he could take the blow or not. He didn't think about it at all. Now, his attention has been spreading around this space. Where are those men in black? Could it be that their goal is not their own? Or is there another purpose? Yi Chubai did not dare to relax his vigilance. After all, those men in black made Yi Chubai feel extremely uneasy. How did you do it? The armored man's face was ugly, and he asked in a deep voice, with your realm, it is obviously impossible to resist. The four of them teamed up, even people in the Qi realm can kill at will. Now, even a person in the middle stage of Zifu realm can't be dealt with. Yi Chubai said lightly, if you want to do it, you can do it. Seeing Yi Chubai's calm appearance, the man's expression darkened. The four of them took a step forward at the same time. The killing intent in the air instantly boiled. The murderous aura actually condensed into a peerless killing god, stepping towards Yi Chubai. Yi Chubai snorted coldly, and swung the sword of the dark demon in his hand. A huge demonic energy continues to spread. At this moment, Yi Chubai, like a demon god, suddenly cut out the demon sword in his hand. It seems to mobilize all the magic energy in the world. Converged in this sword. The fourth sword. Now Yi Chubai, with the blessing of the dark demon, can already use the fourth sword of the heavenly demon Nine Swords. Compared with the third sword, its power is naturally doubled. The momentum was extremely terrifying for a while. Chu Libei felt the aura with horror on his face. Correct. As long as he stepped forward to resist this slash, he would have no strength to resist, and would be torn to pieces by this force. Thinking of this, Chu Libei's face turned ugly. This gap is too big. Moreover, it will become bigger and bigger in the future. The other side. The four men in armor felt the monstrous devilish energy condensed into the sword, and their expressions changed drastically. Is this something that people in the Purple Mansion can display? Could it be that the other party has hidden his realm? This was the first thought of the four of them. However, the slash is approaching in an instant. There is no room for four people to think. Drinking loudly at the same time, it actually took out a piece of blood from the center of the eyebrows. The faces of the four turned pale. Seems to have become sluggish. And those four blood essences were integrated into the body of the peerless killing god. Immediately. The blood is shining. Streams of murderous aura keep rising to the sky. All the people nearby felt the murderous aura, and couldn't help but look back here. Who is this? The murderous intent is so strong. Could it be the four people from the Sunset Dynasty? With this kind of momentum, no one who enters the secret realm of Blood Prison is likely to be their opponent. Yi Chubai looked at this scene, his face didn't change at all, and the dark demon in his hand cut again. The slash transformed by the monstrous demonic energy directly slashed on the blood-condensed body of killing god. Boom. Immediately. The whole world made a loud noise. It's as if the earth is cracking and the sky is collapsing. Countless aftermath waves swept around, and Chu Libei had no choice but to start protecting with all his strength. This also made Chu Libei extremely angry. Just the aftermath of the battle, you need to protect yourself with all your strength. Is there really such a big gap in strength between myself and them? For a while, Chu Libei's Dao heart became confused. As for the journey of martial arts, it is the most taboo to be confused. The faces of the four members of Sunset Dynasty are extremely pale at this moment. His hands stretched forward continuously, maintaining that killing god, but it seemed extremely reluctant. Yi Chubai, holding a sword in one hand, looks relaxed and freehand. The monstrous demonic energy kept gathering, and kept cutting out. Soon, many cracks began to appear on the surface of bloody killing god's body. Blood energy flowed out from the cracks. I can't go on like this. The four of them knew very well that if they had no other means, they would be beheaded by this sword. Why didn't the shadow killer take action? They didn't say this sentence, but transmitted it with aura. At this time, Yi Chubai murmured, it's time to end. After speaking, step out with one step, hold the sword in both hands, and then slash out. The killing also completely collapsed at this moment. The four spurted out a mouthful of blood. Backlash. Yi Chubai obviously wouldn't let go of this opportunity. As soon as he took a step, he was ready to pursue the victory. Suddenly, Yi Chubai slashed out with a sword. However, the direction of the slash was not the four of the Sunset Dynasty, but above him. Suddenly, the space above was distorted, and a man in black appeared from it, holding a dagger in both hands and colliding with Yi Chubai's sword. The fox's tail is finally revealed. Yi Chubai has been paying attention to the surrounding situation. Because he knew that the men in black on the other side would definitely ambush him here. After all, the goal of the Sunset Dynasty is itself. When that sword slashed at the 4 members of the Sunset Dynasty, he would also have a flaw. Then, the convenience will give away. The black-clothed figure didn't speak, and disappeared in place without a hit. Extremely fast. And there is a way to hide his breath. Make Yi Chubai unable to track him. But what about the other 2? Suddenly, the surrounding space distorted again, and behind Yi Chubai, a figure in black appeared again, holding a dagger and cutting towards Yi Chubai's neck. The man in black who fled before also reappeared, blocking the top of Yi Chubai. These 3 attacks were extremely fast, directly blocking Yi Chubai's dodging direction. Had to hard connect. Seeing this, Yi Chubai's face froze, and the dark demon in his hand swung out. The 4th sword of the heavenly demon 9 swords. Yi Chubai didn't dare to be careless. Although the opponent's strength was only at the peak of the Purple Mansion realm, the danger he brought to him was far greater than those 4. The monstrous demonic energy turned into a sword net, slashing all around. However, when the dagger hit the sword net actually started to dissipate. The dagger is strange. Yi Chubai's face was startled, and he stepped out while the opponent was attacking, and ran towards the black-clothed figure in front of him. Slash with the long sword in your hand again. Blocked by the dagger of the figure in black, there was a sound of collision and clang. And Yi Chubai also disappeared in place at this moment. The black-clothed figure's expression was ugly, and he said in a deep voice, "Chase." After finishing speaking, the 3 of them also disappeared in place and galloped away towards the distance. Chapter 30 Abandoned Perception, Eyes of Mind. Outside. Dark clouds over the city. Shrouded in their hearts. Only the general said with a smile, "Now, Yi Chubai should also be killed, right?" On the side of Tibetan Taoist Academy. The elders of Changsheng stared at the words, and immediately shouted, "What did you do?" The elder of the Confucian Academy also moved his eyes away from the book in his hand, and looked at the general. His eyes were extremely cold. The general turned a blind eye to it, ignoring the suppression of the aura of the 2 peak powerhouses in the water overflow realm, and his own cultivation base also burst out, resisting this momentum. Spreading his hands and laughing, "The purpose of our visit this time is Yi Chubai, otherwise, why would our Sunset Dynasty specially send people to this southern barbarian place for the sake of a mere secret place in the blood prison?" Before, they were also wondering why someone from the Sunset Dynasty would come. After all, there are many trial places similar to the blood prison secret realm in the Northern Territory. There is no need to come to the South region specially. Now, the truth opens. The goal of the Sunset Dynasty is Yi Chubai. The elder of Changsheng is surrounded by sword intent, his eyes are full of killing intent, a sword is already in his hand. If something happens to Yi Chubai, I, the Tibetan Taoist Academy, will not let you go. The elders of the Confucian Academy are always calm, but this time, they did not stop the words of the elders of the Changsheng. After all, it was his idea too. The general sneered, "The journey of martial arts is full of life and death. Yi Chubai's skills are not as good as others, so who is to blame for falling in the middle of martial arts? What's more, does your Tibetan Taoist Academy dare to go to war with our Sunset Dynasty? I'm afraid your main academy won't agree, right? The inheritance of the Tibetan Taoist Academy spreads across the 4 domains, and there is naturally a general academy above it. The purpose of the Tibetan Taoist Academy is to preach the world, so naturally it will not agree to war with other forces." The general continued to taunt, "If it was your general courtyard, I'm afraid my Sunset Dynasty would still be afraid of 3 points, but it depends on you." The general didn't say anything after that, but everyone understood what he meant. The elder of Changsheng got angry and took a step forward, but was stopped by the elder of Confucian Academy. "Don't do anything, wait and see the situation first." Hearing this, the elders of the Changsheng stopped. In his opinion, Yi Chubai's swordsmanship talent is extremely important to Tibetan Tao Academy. If he doesn't fall halfway, then Yi Chubai will become a famous sword repairman in the 4 regions. This is also the reason why the elders of the Changsheng are so angry. I hope Yi Chubai can get through this crisis. At the same time, in the secret realm of blood prison, Yi Chubai was galloping in the scarlet wasteland. The other hand held an elixir, absorbing the power of the medicine, and constantly recovering the aura. This pill was given by Lu Changsheng. The effect is natural and outstanding. It didn't take long for the aura deficiency caused by the continuous use of the fourth sword of the heavenly demon Nine Swords to recover by half. With Yi Chubai's current strength, although able to use the fourth sword, but continuous use will still make you weak. This is also the reason why Yi Chubai retreated first. Yi Chubai glanced behind him. Behind him, the three figures in black were still biting Yi Chubai, holding on tight. Behind the figures in black are the four men in armor, and the last one is Chu Libei. He wanted to watch Yi Chubai die with his own eyes. Only then can I rest assured. No, he is recovering aura. Suddenly, one of the figures in black reminded, we are going to do it. What kind of elixir can recover while fleeing, and can recover so quickly? Stop talking nonsense, burn your blood, otherwise things may change when he recovers. When these words were said, the other two were calm and did not object. As if this is a very common thing. This is also the place where Shadow Killer is called a lunatic. For the mission, do whatever it takes. Even if they all die together, or burn blood. Even at the expense of teammates. As long as you can kill the target. Do everything. After all, the three of them were surrounded by aura at the same time. Essence and blood began to burn. Breath instantly soared. Suddenly, the speed increased sharply, shooting towards Yi Chubai. Seeing this, Yi Chubai couldn't help but fixate his eyes. Burning essence and blood will also kill him. It can be seen that the other party's determination. Yi Chubai also stopped, the elixir has been completely absorbed, and his strength has returned to its peak again. Three men in black surrounded Yi Chubai. It's a triangle. Of course they also felt that Yi Chubai's strength had recovered again. Just being a killer. They won't say much nonsense. So what if the strength is restored? Yi Chubai is still their target. Too much talk is bound to fail. Too many mistakes. This is the killer's guideline. They will not make such a slight mistake and fail their mission. Immediately. The three of them played a simple seal at the same time, and a killing formation instantly surrounded Yi Chubai. And in this killing formation, a series of fog began to spread, covering Yi Chubai. Kill the formation. The figures of the three also disappeared from Yi Chubai's field of vision. Disappearance is not just the figure of the three. The scenery around you, the atmosphere around you. Totally gone. Four armored men and Chu Libei also came here. Looking at this scene, he couldn't help laughing and said, Shadow Killer's fog-hidden killing formation was launched at the cost of burning their blood. Yi Chubai has absolutely no possibility of escaping. In this fog-hidden killing formation, Yi Chubai's senses were cut off, and he probably doesn't know how he died. Obviously, the four of them are also extremely afraid of this Wuyin killing formation. At this moment, Yi Chubai also frowned slightly during the killing battle. He couldn't feel the aura of those three people. But they know that they must be hiding in this fog. This is much stronger than the phantom array in the academy competition. Suddenly, a black shadow suddenly came from behind Yi Chubai. Yi Chubai's face was startled, and he dodged the fatal blow by rolling over. But there was still a slit on the shoulder. The wound is deep and the bone is visible. If Yi Chubai didn't react in time, he might have died on the spot. The figure in black in the dark was also surprised. He didn't expect that his killing blow could be dodged. Yi Chubai's face was solemn, and he looked around. There was no flaw in the formation. Everywhere you see is a fog. Since the eyes cannot be used. Yi Chubai closed his eyes, standing in the mist. Give up vision. Abandon consciousness. Abandon all perception. Feel it with your heart. Look with your heart. See everything in the world with the eyes of your mind. Stupid. Before a single word fell, a dagger pierced towards Yi Chubai's heart. Yi Chubai still did not open his eyes. But the long sword in his hand swung towards the dagger. Bang! The sound of metal collisions sounded. The dagger was sent flying, and disappeared into the mist. This is a special method in the Sword Sutra of Taichu. Mind. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. Chapter 31 Destruction. Mind and eyes can detect all evils in the world. Whether it is a maze or a phantom, as long as it is not crushed by the opponent, it can be easily detected. Under the eyes of the heart, many hidden methods are undoubtedly revealed. What means is this? In the dark, three figures in black looked at this scene, and their hearts were filled with turmoil. In the same realm, no one can see through the Wuyin killing formation. What's more, the three people used the fog-hidden killing array at the cost of burning blood. Even a person at the peak of Qi realm cannot detect it. Unless the water-overflowing strongman breaks through the formation with force, he can break the fog-hidden killing formation. However, Yi Chubai is just a person in the purple mansion. The realm is lower than them. How did you do this? Could it be a coincidence? However, when they thought of this, I felt that Yi Chubai had a sword intent rising into the sky. It seems to be cutting through this space. Sword intent. In the data, Yi Chubai has practiced for only a dozen years. How could it be possible to comprehend the sword intent? Immediately afterwards, the sword energy carrying the sword intent precisely slashed towards the positions of the three of them. The faces of the three of them changed drastically. Seeing this, how could they not know? Yi Chubai has seen through this formation. Transfer formation, shadow kill formation. The three of them made a mark at the same time, and a mouthful of blood sprayed on the mark. Suddenly, the fog in the formation dissipated, and instead, countless dark daggers pierced towards Yi Chubai's sword intent. Since the maze is useless, then directly use the killing array to face it head-on. However, Shadow Killer is a killer organization. Lost the concealment of darkness. How could Yi Chubai be an opponent in a frontal battle? Those countless dark daggers were cut to pieces instantly by the sword intent. The castration continued unabated, and then he chopped at the three of them. The expression of the figure in black changed drastically, but now it was too late to dodge, so he could only hold the dagger to his chest. Streams of spiritual energy appeared in front of him to resist the sharp sword intent. Click. The sound of cracking keeps ringing. The sword intent was like destroying the dead, smashing the layers of aura shields to pieces. The sword intent fell on the bodies of the three of them. Penetrate directly. Suddenly, a line of blood gushed out from the chests of the three of them. One blow, three people were killed. Yi Chubai waved the dark demon in his hand, looked at this scene with cold eyes, as if he didn't care. And the other side. Chu Libei looked at this scene with horror on his face. At this moment, he has no intention of beheading Yi Chubai at all. He only thinks about how to escape for his life now. However, he seemed to be locked by Yi Chubai's qi mechanism, and his legs were bound by the ground, unable to move. The four armored men from the Sunset Dynasty were also surprised. After all, in their eyes, Yi Chubai will definitely die if he is trapped by the Wuyin killing formation. However, Yi Chubai not only broke out of the battle now, killed the three shadow killers in one blow. But that's not what they care about. It's that monstrous sword intent. You know, even in the Northern Territory, in the Sunset Dynasty, no one has comprehended the sword intent at such a young age. Anyone who can comprehend the sword intent is a great swordsman. This kind of person, even the Sunset Dynasty would not dare to offend easily, and would only make friends with them. Now, Yi Chubai is walking towards no one step by step. Every time you take a step, the sword will rise from your body. His eyes were extremely cold. In his eyes, these five people were already dead. The body of the sword is like a snake, and the intent of the sword is like a letter, constantly spitting out. Chu Libei's body began to tremble continuously. Seeing this scene, the four armored men also felt a little frightened. After realizing this, she was extremely ashamed and angry again. How could a mere southern barbarian give them such a feeling? This is impossible. Suddenly, blood burst out from one of them, turned into a ***** giant fist, and hit Yi Chubai. Yi Chubai saw the blood-colored giant fist approaching, but still walked forward without drawing a sword. It's just that when the ***** giant fist was about to hit Yi Chubai's body, that sword intent erupted directly from his body. For a moment, the sword intent was everywhere. The ***** giant fist was directly torn into pieces. Immediately, with a slight step, Yi Chubai's body disappeared in place. In an instant, he appeared in front of the armored man, behind the sword bearer, with a finger sticking out. The armored man didn't even have time to react, he just watched Yi Chubai's finger land on his forehead. Poof! A line of blood gushed out from the back of the armored man's head. One finger pierced the man's forehead. How dare you kill us? The Sunset Dynasty won't. However, before he finished speaking, Yi Chubai slashed out with a backhand sword. The head was chopped off and flew out. Seeing that the situation was not right, the remaining two immediately retreated and prepared to escape. But Yi Chubai will not let the tiger go back to the mountain. When the other party comes to one person, he will kill one person himself. Sooner or later, Yi Chubai will take the initiative to attack and kill the Sunset Dynasty. Directly slashed at the two of them with a sword. Sword intent crosses the sky. Turned into a huge slash and slashed on the armor of the two. But the armor doesn't have any protective effect, it's like paper, cut off in half. All the members of the Sunset Dynasty died in battle. After taking away all the rings from the four of them, Yi Chubai looked at Chu Libei whose legs were trembling constantly. At this moment, Chu Libei was no longer as arrogant and domineering as before, and his eyes were full of fear. Yi Chubai looked at Chu Libei coldly. I just heard him say, Yi Chubai, I didn't do anything, can you let me go for the sake of my enemies? Seeing that Yi Chubai was unmoved, Chu Libei continued to beg for mercy in a trembling voice, I will definitely not trouble you again in the future. And whatever you want me to do, I will help you do whatever you want. After finishing speaking, he even knelt on the ground and kept kowtowing to Yi Chubai. Seeing this, Yi Chubai didn't speak, but kicked the rock. The rock shattered, and the fragments penetrated Chu Libei's body. Dantian is included. Chu Libei cried out in pain. The aura on his body was disappearing rapidly. Obviously, Chu Libei's Dantian was broken, and all his cultivation bases disappeared, making him a useless person. Feeling the condition of his body, Chu Libei cried, kill me. Kill me. Yi Chubai didn't answer, turned around and left the place. Killing this kind of person, Yi Chubai is afraid that his sword will be dirty. One day before the end of the blood prison trial, Yi Chubai met Hongying. Brother, have you solved those people from the Sunset Dynasty? Yi Chubai smiled and said, that's right, it's sorted out. Hongying nodded, she was not surprised to be able to get rid of those people. After all, he is the master's disciple. If you can't do it, you will be disappointed. Yi Chubai asked, Junior sister, have you finished your work? Hongying nodded and said, as long as my strength returns to the peak, I will fight again, but at that time, I may use your strength, senior brother. Okay, just call me if you need anything. Being both master's disciple and his junior sister, Yi Chubai would certainly not refuse. Exclamation mark. Chapter 32 Holding a sword in the future, stepping down the setting sun. Yi Chubai's kendo talent is extremely terrifying. His physique, even Hongying couldn't see through it. As long as he is given time, his talent in the future will be unstoppable, and he will become a generation of sword masters. This is why Hongying felt that Yi Chubai could help her. That's one day left. Yi Chubai and Hongying wandered casually in the secret realm of Blood Prison. As for meeting some inheritances in the middle, they were not interested in them. Yi Chubai has obtained the Heavenly Demon 9 swords to make a transition, and even has the unworldly skills of the Sword Sutra of Absolute Beginning. As an ancient empress, Hongying's background is many times better than these inheritances, so she naturally doesn't like it. What's more, the master of the two, Lu Changsheng, is probably better than these inheritances. On the way, I met Huo Qingming, Lin Ce and others. Lin Ce was slightly injured, while Huo Qingming was slightly injured, his face was extremely pale, and Lin Ce helped him away. Xin Hongyi also turned pale. Only Zhang Wu, with a small bookshelf on his back and a smile on his face, obviously didn't suffer any injuries, but his breath was stronger than before. Lin Ce saw Hongying, and immediately left Huo Qingming behind, and ran to Hongying's side to inquire about her health. Hongying ignored it, feeling a little headache. Looking at this scene, Huo Qingming's face turned dark for a while, but he felt a little helpless. This guy who pays more attention to than friends. Xin Hongyi looked at Yi Chubai and asked, how was your harvest this time? Yi Chubai smiled and nodded, not bad. Then let's discuss after we go out. Anytime. Zhang Wu watched this scene, smiled and did not speak. Until the end of the day. The blood prison secret realm is about to disappear. Yi Chubai Hongying and his group came to the portal and left the blood prison. When the elders of the Confucian Academy and the Jiantang saw Yi Chubai walking out safely, they were relieved, and went up to ask about the harvest. The general was shocked when he saw this scene. Yi Chubai is not dead. And none of the four of us and Shadow Killer came out. Is it impossible? Thinking of this, the general's face turned ugly, and he stepped forward, and the aura of the peak of the water overflowed directly on Yi Chubai's body. What did you do? My subordinates, and those men in black. Seeing this, the elder of the Jiantang took a step forward, and a sword energy appeared across the sky, blocking Yi Chubai's body, resisting all the power. At the same time, the sword energy shot straight towards the general. The general snorted coldly, and punched out with a terrifying force. The sword energy shattered, and the fist prints dissipated. Neither side took advantage. Just listen to the elders of the Jiantang standing in place, with awe-inspiring eyes, not angry but majestic. Shouted in a deep voice, "This is not your Sunset Dynasty. Your Excellency, I'm afraid it's better to keep a low profile." The general said with an ugly face, "Low-key. Yi Chubai killed my man. I only have one condition, hand him over to me. This matter can be forgotten. What if you don't pay? Then in the future, my Shira cavalry from the Sunset Dynasty will crush your Tibetan Taoist Academy." The elder of the Confucian Academy smiled lightly and said, "Then we will wait for your arrival." Yi Chubai also said, "In the future, I will come to the Sunset Dynasty." The general's eyes narrowed, and then he laughed loudly. "You little boy, you have a big tone." The words have come to this point, the general naturally knows that his subordinates and the three shadow killers have been killed by Yi Chubai in front of him. It's just that he still doesn't believe it. This was done by Yi Chubai alone. I'm afraid I still borrowed the power of others, such as the Tibetan Taoist Academy. I will go back and report to His Majesty. The general took a deep look at Yi Chubai and said, "The Shira cavalry will not keep you waiting for too long. I hope you can resist." After speaking, the general disappeared in place. Even though the elder Confucian school and the elder Jiantang joined forces to keep the general, they would not make a move at this time. Once the opponent's high-level figures are beheaded here, then I am afraid that the Sunset Dynasty will have no scruples and directly use this as an excuse to attack the southern region with all its strength. At that time, the consequences will be unimaginable. In this case, I can only watch the other party leave. At this time, someone from the Chu family looked at Yi Chubai, his eyes were bloodshot, and said, "Yi Chubai, why did you abolish Chu Libai?" Yi Chubai looked over indifferently, and said, "He wanted to kill me, and I abolished him, isn't it normal? What's more, Chu Jia, I will come to visit sooner or later." The elders of the Chu family just wanted to get angry, but saw the unfriendly eyes of the elders of the Jiantang, so they could only suppress their anger. After all, the Chu family is still not enough to look at in front of the Tibetan Taoist Academy. Let's go. The Chu family took Chu Libai with a sluggish expression, and left angrily. The elder Confucian president saw that everyone had gained something, and no one was lost, but suffered injuries of different sizes. He couldn't help but smiled with relief. "Good job, go back to the academy. There will be rewards for you when you arrive at the academy." After all, the most rewarding place in the blood prison secret realm is probably the Tibetan Taoist Academy. This pair also brought glory to the academy. The above will naturally give them some rewards. Huo Qingming and the others looked happy. Yi Chubai, Hongying, and Xin Hongyi and Zhang Wu did not change their expressions. The people from the Tibetan Taoist Academy left on their mounts. And at this moment, above the blood prison secret realm, this place is blocked by a barrier, making it impossible for people to see the situation inside the barrier. I am afraid that even a strong man like Qin Tianan will not be able to break through this barrier. At this moment, covered by the dark clouds, countless thunder dragons flowed in the sky, and there was a huge face staring solemnly at a man wearing a white fox mask below. I saw the man holding a sword, with one hand on his back, standing in midair, the corner of his clothes fluttering with the wind. "Where the asterisk are you?" The face in the sky asked in a concentrated voice. "With your strength, you shouldn't exist in this world." The man chuckled lightly, and said, "I'm wearing a mask, I just don't want others to recognize me, please don't ask such stupid questions, okay?" The face took a long breath, and in that breath, there was even a breath of thunder. I only heard him say in a deep voice, "Then why did you stop me?" The man said, "Then why did you plan on my disciple?" The man is Lu Changsheng. The face of shouted angrily. Empress Yunwang disregarded the variables of reincarnation and forcibly practiced the 9 reincarnation. Now that she has successfully cultivated, she wants to conquer the heavens and re-establish the way of heaven. This is a big taboo. Lu Changsheng nodded and said, "It turns out to be like this, but so what? Isn't the way of heaven collapsed here? There is nothing wrong with re-establishing one, or..." Speaking of this, Lu Changsheng's eyes were gloomy, and he said in one sentence, "You don't want Hongying to set up the way of heaven, but you to set it up." The tone of the face was stagnant, and he took a long breath, and the brontosaurs in the clouds came out. Want to destroy Lu Changsheng. Chapter 33 Willow. You seem to be unable to recognize yourself. Countless thunder dragons poked out their heads from the dark clouds and looked at Lu Changsheng. Immediately swooped down towards Lu Changsheng. Thunder roars. It's like a disaster that will destroy the world. Lu Changsheng swooped down facing the countless thunder dragons. Lightning kept striking around, but unfortunately they couldn't penetrate Lu Changsheng's aura defense. With a radius of 10 miles around Lu Changsheng's body, it is like a pure land outside the world, no lightning can strike here. At this time, Thunder Dragon had already reached Lu Changsheng's aura protection field. Boom! Brontosaurus crazily poured over the barrier. However, on the barrier, there can only be ripples one after another. But I can no longer make an inch. Even a penny. Lu Changsheng pointed out with his finger, and a finger directly penetrated Thunder Dragon. The Thunder Dragon turned into a little thunder light, which dissipated in an instant. The faces in the sky focused their eyes, and said in a deep voice, "Fellow Taoist, you must be trapped in this universe too. If you don't stop me, we will send you fellow Taoist out of this universe." Lu Changsheng asked back, "Why should I leave? In the Tibetan Taoist Academy, he can fish for himself, and someone cooks for him. In the thatched cottage, there was no conspiracy. It's totally stress-free, okay. So why did I leave here and go to other places to suffer?" Stupid. That face obviously didn't expect Lu Changsheng's answer, and said ruthlessly, "Fellow Taoist, if you don't listen to the advice, I'm afraid that even you won't be able to resist when we come in the future." Forehead. Speaking to the other side, Lu Changsheng couldn't help but feel a little hypocritical. Will he be able to fight by then? However, for the sake of your own fishing life not to be destroyed. Lu Changsheng could only pretend to be relaxed, and said, "Then remember to bring more people next time." Saying this should be able to bluff the other party, right? That face took a deep look at Lu Changsheng, as if he wanted to imprint it in his mind. "I will remember what fellow Taoist said. Next time I set foot here, I will definitely bring more powerful people to satisfy fellow Taoist." After speaking, the face disappeared in this world in an instant. The enchantment disappears. Kongliu Lu Changsheng with a sluggish face. "I seem to be playing off. No, what should I do if the other side really wants to bring a bunch of people to me but I can't beat them? Hurry up and get ready." After speaking, Lu Changsheng disappeared in place. After a while, he returned to the thatched cottage. Walking up and down the cliff, he kept muttering, "There is also a formation, and the cultivation base cannot be improved in a moment. What else can I prepare?" Willow on the side heard these words, and couldn't help but let out a curious voice. "What happened?" Seeing this, Lu Changsheng explained the matter again. Hearing this, a helpless voice came from the willow tree. "Are you being too cautious?" Lu Changsheng shook his head and said, "Is this still prudent? I'm afraid that I won't be able to defeat the opponent if I don't have enough cultivation. After all, I don't even know how far I have cultivated. Over the past few decades, I have been signing in, and the rewards for cultivation are also calculated according to the year. Ghost knows what realm I have reached." Willow was a little speechless. Even she couldn't fully understand Lu Changsheng's realm. And even she can't fully see through it, how can anyone in this universe threaten Lu Changsheng? What's more, there is also the 9 Nether Yellow Spring formation here. This is one of the top 10 killing formations in ancient times. And it's not the ancient times of this low-latitude universe, it's a higher-level existence. Seeing that Lu Changsheng was still worrying about it, Lu Shu didn't want to say any more. The little bird on the side saw this scene, and felt a little speechless. When Yi Chubai and Hongying returned to the thatched cottage, they were about to meet Lu Changsheng. Then I saw Master muttering to himself on the cliff. Do you want to run away? No, then I have to change places. I'm afraid other places are not as comfortable as here. Ah, Master, what happened? Yi Chubai leaned forward, scratched his head and asked, what bothers Master so much? Hongying also looked at Lu Changsheng curiously. She also really wanted to know what could hinder the unfathomable Lu Changsheng. Lu Changsheng was overjoyed when he saw the two of them coming, and quickly pushed the two of them and said, hurry up, you two hurry up to practice. One is the Qingyun Sword Body. One is Reincarnation Eucharist. And both of them have the qualifications to become emperors. I don't understand how to cultivate, so let his two disciples cultivate to the level of the great emperor. At that time, won't I be able to fish again? Thinking of this, Lu Changsheng added another sentence. Don't come out if you haven't cultivated to the great emperor. Yi Chubai. Hongying also stroked her forehead helplessly. Their master seems to be ignorant of their own strength. Even as an empress, she has never seen those sky-reaching means. As far as the formation above the thatched cottage is concerned. Even in her heyday, she might not be able to resist. After, Xin Hongyi came to the thatched cottage and asked Yi Chubai to discuss. Hongying continued to practice the 9 revolutions of reincarnation kung fu to stabilize her realm. Lu Changsheng thought about it, he can't rely entirely on his disciples. I have to practice myself too. But how to practice? There is no way to practice. I have never practiced before. Forget it, let's sleep. Relying on daily check-in to receive repairs. Since the blood prison secret realm. Another 2 days passed. At the moment, General has returned to the Sunset Empire. Prince, the mission failed. I saw the general knelt on one knee in front of a man in a brocade robe, and said with an ugly face, we underestimated Yi Chubai's strength, shadow killer, and all 4 of my personal guards were killed. Huang Tianming teased the canary in the cage, and his expression didn't change when he heard these words. Well, I understand, pass on the death of the 3 assassins in shadow killing to them. Shadow kill. Once you accept the task, you will not give up until the task is completed. 3 killers died this time, and more and stronger killers will definitely be sent to complete the task in the future. Huang Tianming smiled and said, it's just a commoner of the southern barbarians. There is no need for us to spend so much effort to do it ourselves. Let Yingxia do it. General nodded and said, yes, I understand. Oh, right. Huang Tianming suddenly turned cold, and said, since the mission failed, go to the prison forest to accept punishment. Prison forest. The place where the people of the Sunset Dynasty heard about it. Is the place used to punish sinners in the dynasty. The means are extremely cruel. Even as a general at the peak of Shui Yijing, his heart trembled when he heard the words. However, he dared not refuse. After all, Huang Tianming's method is more terrifying than the prison forest in the dynasty. The general is gone. Huang Tianming didn't turn his head, and said softly, stop eavesdropping, Yi Chubai is not dead yet. A woman came out from behind, bit her lip and said nothing. Huang Tianming put the birdcage on the stone table, turned to look at Zhang Chan, and said with a smile, although he didn't die, it will happen sooner or later, so don't do other outrageous things, otherwise. Even if you are my future wife, the queen of the setting sun, I will not show mercy. Chapter 34 The Teacher in a Small Village. After 10 days have passed. The thatched cottage is peaceful. Yi Chubai took over Hongying's job and cooks every day. Since entering the thatched cottage, Hongying, who has been fasting for a long time, has also developed the habit of eating 3 meals a day. In addition to cooking, he would compete with Xin Hongyi, or practice the Sword Sutra of Absolute Beginning. As for Hongying, apart from eating, she is doing seclusion. Sometimes I go out for a trip. As for what to do, it is unknown. Yi Chubai and Lu Changsheng won't bother. As for Lu Changsheng, he is still the same as before, but with a little sadness on his face. Come on, the meal is ready. At this time, Yi Chubai came out with several dishes. Lu Changsheng sat at the dining table, picked up a glass of wine he brewed, and said, go ask your junior sister to eat. Yi Chubai nodded. Soon, he walked over with Hongying. When the 3 of them were about to move their chopsticks, Lu Changsheng suddenly said, okay, Chubai, go and add a pair of bowls and chopsticks. Yi Chubai was taken aback for a moment, but he followed suit and ran to the kitchen. When I took out the bowls and chopsticks, one saw a middle-aged man sitting on the other side of the dining table. Changsheng, you are living a pretty good life. Lu Changsheng said helplessly. Uncle Qin, if you have anything to say, just say it. Qin Tianan nodded and took the bowl and chopsticks, and said with a smile, let's eat first, and then we'll talk after the meal. I haven't eaten for hundreds of years. Lu Changsheng rolled his eyes and started to move his chopsticks. Hey, this wine is not bad. Quote. Huh. After drinking this wine, I feel that my cultivation base that hasn't improved for many years is starting to loosen. Quote. Changsheng, did you brew it yourself? Lu Changsheng finally couldn't take it anymore. He waved his hand, and in an instant a large jar of wine fell in front of Qin Tianan. With a dark face, he said, take it, take it. Qin Tianan smiled and said, I'm so sorry. But while speaking, Qin Tianan put away the wine in a very honest manner. Hongying. Yi Chubai. Full of wine and food. Qin Tianan then talked about the business, and said, this time, it is for the exchange of the academy. You also know that our Tibetan Taoist Academy is distributed in the 4 regions, and we are a branch of the southern region. Every 10 years, the Tibetan Taoist Academy in the 4 regions will conduct an exchange with each other to distribute the resources distributed by the General Academy. The college competition at that time was preparing for this, so I said, Chubai, you can go to the Northern Territory with me. This 4-domain academy exchange is in the Northern Domain. Hearing this, Yi Chubai was taken aback, and then looked at Lu Changsheng. Lu Changsheng said lightly, you decide whether to go or not. The Northern Territory is the territory of the Sunset Dynasty. Zhang Chan is also there. Thinking of this, Yi Chubai nodded with firm eyes. Seeing this, Qin Tianan said with satisfaction, very good, what about Hongying? Although I didn't participate in the college competition. But Hongying's strength is beyond doubt. If Hongying is willing to go, then it is naturally the best. Hongying shook her head, and said, I have to do something first, but I will also leave for the Northern Territory. When the matter is over, I will take a look. Qin Tianan nodded, all right then, meet at the gate of the academy tomorrow. The next day, a crane set off from the Tibetan Taoist Academy. This time, Qin Tianan personally led the team. Hongying left the thatched cottage alone and headed for the Northern Territory. And this time, the participants of the 4 domains college exchange included Yi Chubai, Huo Qingming, Lin Ce, Zhang Wu, Xinhong Yi, and one person Yi Chubai had never met before. But according to Xinhong Yi, this person is Qin Tianan's disciple. It is called Wasteland. It is heard that he has been practicing with Qin Tianan, and he was not born until today. At this time, Dean Confucianism said, okay, let me explain the rules of this exchange. Everyone looked over. The elder looked solemnly and said, student exchanges are divided into 2 aspects. One is the exchange of martial arts, and the other is the exchange of Confucianism and Taoism. Martial arts exchange, led by Huang Yuan, Yi Chubai, Huo Qingming, Lin Ce, Xinhong Yi participated. Confucian Academy exchange, led by Zhang Wu. Qin Tianan also came over at this time, with a dignified expression on his face, and said, our southern region has been number 1 from the bottom several times in a row. It can also be said that our overall strength is weaker than the other 3 regions. However, this time is also the most promising one in our southern region, so. Qin Tianan bowed to the crowd and said, the glory of the academy is left to you. The elders of the Confucian Academy also bowed together with Qin Tianan. Both of them are top experts in the academy, with high status. Now, he bows to the students. It can be seen how much Qin Tianan attaches importance to this college exchange. At the same time, Eastern Region Tibetan Taoist Academy. This academy exchange, we must strive to get the first prize. The top spot should still be the Northern Territory. After all, their background is too strong, but at the end, it should still be the Southern Territory. Well, the background in the southern region is the weakest, and there is definitely no way to catch up. Western Region Tibetan Taoist Academy. We only need to outperform the Southern Territory in martial arts exchanges. After all, this is not our strong point. Well, but the exchange of Confucianism and Taoism will definitely surpass the Northern Territory this time. It's okay, this time we have Wu Ming. Well, Junior brother Wuming is the reincarnation of the Holy Buddha, and the exchange of Confucianism and Taoism will definitely not fail. Beiyou Tibetan Taoist Academy. There is no suspense in the first place this time, is it us again? It's not unexpected. This time, we have a few more peerless geniuses born. There is Brother Jian in the exchange of martial arts, and Sister Mu in the exchange of Confucianism and Taoism. With these two people, we must be the leader of the Northern Territory. At the same time, in the northern region, there is an unknown hill, and in this hill, there is a village. This village is extremely backward. No one practices Taoism. Plow at sunrise and rest at sunset. However, in the open space of the village, a young man dressed like a scholar was giving lectures to the children in the village. Okay, get out of class is over. A child said naively, "Sir, will you leave here tomorrow?" "No, sir, can you continue to teach us, we still want to study." The man smiled and said, "There is always a banquet in the world. Although I want to continue teaching you, I am still on the way of learning, so I have to leave." Hear this. The head of the village came forward, held the man with calloused hands, and said gratefully, "Thank you, sir, for your teaching these past few months, so that these children can study." The man shook his head and said, "This is what I should do." The next day, it was still dark. The man left a few books and left the small village with a book basket on his back. Walked out of the village, looked back, and couldn't help sighing. Reluctance. Suddenly, a voice came from behind, and the man backed away in shock, saying, "Who are you?" I saw the white-robed man in front of me chuckle and said, "My name is Lu Changsheng, and I want to take you as my disciple." Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. Chapter 35 Accepting Apprentices, Wenqu descends to earth. After Yi Chubai left the thatched cottage, Lu Changsheng thought that if he didn't take any more apprentices, he might be able to get more rewards. Thinking of this, Lu Changsheng left the Tibetan Taoist Academy and began to wander around the four regions. How fast! It took almost an incense stick of time to set foot in every corner of the Southern Territory. When they came to the North Territory, when they passed this hill, the sound of the system finally sounded. Open black lens bracket trigger task. Go to Hidao village to accept disciples close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket name. Ning Chenxin close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket talent. SSS level close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket qualification. Aura of awe-inspiring. Wenqu star descends to earth. Capital of becoming an emperor close black lens bracket. Good guy, he is also worthy of becoming an emperor. So, there is the present scene. Ning Chenxin pointed at himself, looked at Lu Changsheng floating in midair, and said blankly, "The immortal master wants to accept me as an apprentice. But I don't practice Taoism." Lu Changsheng chuckled lightly and said, "Then what do you think is Tao?" Heard the words. Ning Chen was stunned. What is Tao? What is Tao? He didn't think about it, and he never thought about it. Ning Chen couldn't help but fell into deep thought. When Lu Changsheng saw this, he didn't say a word to disturb him. He waved his hand, and a barrier surrounded the two of them so as not to be disturbed. Day after day, Ning Chenxin is still thinking, but, as a mortal, he has no cultivation. But there is no decline in physical function due to lack of food and water. Instead, his face was red. Until the fourth day, Ning Chenxin was suddenly surrounded by a faint white aura. This is Haor in righteousness. Ning Chenxin slowly opened his eyes. He already felt that he had slowly touched the Tao, but when he grabbed it, it was fleeting. Like a small loach, it can be seen but cannot be caught. Ning Chenxin looked at Lu Changsheng in front of him, and asked, "What is Tao?" He is a scholar. When I read the books of sages and sages, every time I see something I don't understand, I will think about it. If you don't understand something, you will ask. Looking at Ning Chenxin, Lu Changsheng didn't answer directly, but asked, "Why do you study?" Ning Chen paused for a moment, thought for a while and said, "To educate the world, to make there be no war in the world." Right. He wants to use reading to enlighten the world and fill the world with peace. Down to peace and joy. Up to the world peace. When Ning Chenxin said these words, a golden Buddha light shone on Ning Chenxin in the sky. This is the light of merit. Heaven sent down merit, but also sent down responsibility. Looking at this, Lu Changsheng also nodded and said, "Tao is the Tao." It can be a flower or a tree, or it can be a speck of dust. Everything can be the Tao. Ning Chen thought deeply. Lu Changsheng continued, you study to educate the world, this is the way. For the peace of the world, it is also the Tao. Hearing this, Ning Chenxin's body shook. The golden light in the mind seemed to be transformed into reality. As long as you stretch out your hand, you can hold it. Seeing that Ning Chenxin has already touched the threshold, he only needs to take a step forward to pass. Lu Changsheng shouted in a low voice, Dao can be said, very Dao, name can be named, very famous. Dao, can be said, not constant Dao, name, can be named, not constant name. Quote. Boom. Ning Chen's body shook violently as if struck by lightning. Close your eyes and sit cross-legged on the ground. Strains of righteousness continue to surround the body. Golden light keeps shining from the center of Ning Chenxin's brows. Ning Chenxin stretched out his hand to grab the golden light in his mind, and grabbed it into the palm of his hand. Dao heart forged. Ning Chenxin entered Taoism with Confucianism. His cultivation method will be completely different from that of ordinary cultivators. Others cultivate the soul and the body. As for Ning Chenxin, all he needs to do is cultivate his righteousness. The enemy will come in the future, and he will fall down with a sound. Then you can suppress and kill the enemy with awe-inspiring spirit. A long while. Ning Chenxin opened his eyes, looked at Lu Changsheng, knelt on the ground, and respectfully said, Disciple Ning Chenxin, pay homage to Master. Open black lens bracket. The task is completed, the rewards will be issued. Shusheng Dao Zi, Dao Jing, cultivated in 2000 close black lens bracket. Nice. Lu Changsheng nodded with a smile, put his hands empty, lifted Ning Chen's heart from the ground, and said, You worship me as a teacher, and I don't have anything good for you as a teacher, so I will give you this. After speaking, Lu Changsheng stretched out his hand, and a simple book appeared in Lu Changsheng's hands, and handed it to Ning Chenxin. This thing is a Taoist scripture, it can be used against the enemy, or it can be used to comprehend, you just accept it. Ning Chenxin stretched out his hands, took it carefully, and opened it, and he could feel the power of Taoism in it. Can't help but change his face. This book is nothing ordinary. Thank you, Master. Lu Changsheng nodded, and continued, Before you, there was a senior brother named Yi Chubai, and a senior sister, Hongying. When you meet in the future, if you have any difficulties, you can find them. Ning Chen nodded heartily. Okay, follow me back to the teacher's gate. Lu Changsheng wanted to take Ning Chenxin away, but Ning Chenxin shook his head and said, Master, forgive me for not being able to return to the master's school yet. Lu Changsheng looked at him, a little puzzled. Ning Chenxin explained, I want to continue to practice, because I feel that my knowledge is not enough to support my heart. Hearing this, Lu Changsheng nodded. Indeed, everyone has their own cultivation method. It is understandable that Ning Chen wants to practice in the world of mortals. Lu Changsheng had no choice but to agree. Okay, then this is for you. Having said that, Lu Changsheng threw a jade pendant to Ning Chenxin. This is. Ning Chen was stunned. Lu Changsheng said, This jade pendant contains a sword formation that I set up. When you encounter danger, you can use it to defuse the crisis. At the same time, you can also use this jade pendant to contact your senior brothers and sisters. Is a small object similar to a sound transmission symbol. Ning Chen cupped his fists in his heart and said, Thank you, Master. Okay, the teacher will go first. After speaking, he didn't stop, and disappeared in place. Ning Chenxin looked at the direction where Lu Changsheng disappeared, bowed down, and didn't get up for a long time. Back in the thatched cottage, Lu Changsheng said helplessly, It's a pity, I didn't bring it back. Isn't there no one to cook for me? The willow tree on the side. Little bird. Ordinary practitioners rarely eat since they reach the state of inedia. But this person in front of him, his cultivation level is unfathomable, but he has to eat every day, and it's not good if he doesn't eat. Meanwhile, the other side. Northern Territory, Sunset Dynasty. The general with a sluggish breath knelt in front of Huang Tianming, and said, I got the news, Yi Chubai followed the people from the Tibetan Taoist Academy to the northern region to participate in the exchange of the Four Regions Academy. Huang Tianming nodded, and said casually, Did you tell Yingxia the news? Shadow Killer already knows. Okay, Then inform the people at the Beiyou Tibetan Taoism Academy and let them get ready. Understood. The general got up and left the place. Huang Tianming looked towards the sky, which was the direction of Tibetan Taoist Academy. Heaven has a way and you don't go, but has no way and you just want to break in. Due to the rationality of the plot, some changes have been made. The original fourth disciple and the third disciple made an identity swap. Then thank you TZ for your support of the recommended ticket and monthly ticket. If there is anything unreasonable, you can tell me in the comment area. Chapter 36 Occupy a seat. North Territory. The Tibetan Taoist Academy here is more prosperous than the southern region. This was the first impression that Yi Chubai and his party had. There are many disciples, and at the same time, there are various secret realms in the academy. However, it is different. The Tibetan Taoist Academy in the Northern Territory is more oppressive than the Southern Territory. The elder of the Confucian Academy explained, the Tibetan Taoist Academy in the Northern Territory pays attention to natural selection and survival of the fittest. Here, once you are slightly behind others, you will be eliminated. Hearing the words, everyone suddenly realized. Under such a high-pressure environment, the strength is strong, and it is normal to be ranked first. But Yi Chubai prefers the atmosphere of the Tibetan Taoist Academy in the southern region. Discuss martial arts, discuss and prove your understanding. Appears very peaceful. At this time, several old men came towards them. Headed by an old man with long eyebrows and beard. I saw him bow slightly, with a smile on his face, and said, "Welcome everyone, the accommodation has been arranged, please come with me." This person is Ni Qing, the elder of the Confucian Academy of the Northern Territory Tibetan Taoist Academy. Elder Wutang explained in this way. When everyone was going to their residence, there were people from Beiyou Tibetan Taoist Academy whispering beside them. The words were full of disdain. Are these people from the wild land in the southern region? Well, I'm here to participate in the exchange of Xiāo Academy. It's just them. Their realm doesn't seem to be as high as mine. I'm afraid there is no need for senior brother Jian to step in. The sound of their conversation reached everyone's ears clearly. Huo Qingming said angrily, "This is too despising of us." Xin Hongyi also took out the sword in her hand, and said with a cold face, "I want to learn how strong they are." Lin Xi's face was also extremely ugly. Principal Huang said lightly, "There is no need to fight for a momentary advantage, save your energy for tomorrow's martial arts exchange." Hearing this, Huo Qingming snorted coldly, suppressing the anger in his heart. Xin Hongyi didn't listen, and just wanted to step out, but was pulled back by Yi Chubai. It's really not necessary, just hit them in the face with strength tomorrow. Hearing this, Xin Hongyi put away the sword in his hand. Huang Yuan glanced sideways at Yi Chubai. Before, what I said was useless, but Yi Chubai persuaded him. A group of people came to the residence. Beiyou Tibetan Taoist Academy did not play some inferior tricks, and the accommodation they arranged was quite good. Tomorrow is a martial arts exchange, please rest well. After Ni Qing finished speaking, he left. The elders of the Confucian Academy and the elders of the Wutang also followed, obviously wanting to talk about something. As for Qin Tianan, he stepped into the Northern Territory and left here. Seeing the two elders leave, Huo Qingming cursed angrily, "It's really a bully. Isn't it just a few times you won the first place? Let them beat them this time." Lin Ce said with an ugly face, "Tomorrow you can see the real chapter in your hands." Yi Chubai shrugged, and was about to go back to practice. Another group of people pushed open the courtyard door and walked in without saying hello. "Who are you?" Zhongwu frowned slightly, and said, "Is there no courtesy?" A thin and tall man among them sneered, "What kind of etiquette do you need to treat a barbarian?" You. Huo Qingming was held back by Huang Yuan, stepped forward, and said, "If you are only here to provoke, then there is no need." The man who was the leader cast a cold glance at the tall and thin man. The tall and thin man closed his mouth when he saw this. "I'm sorry everyone, it's my junior brother Meng Lang. I'm here this time to invite everyone to a banquet. The evening banquet will invite Tianzhao from the Four Regions Academy to come to participate, and it is also convenient to get acquainted with the young talents of the Four Regions." Wang Yuan pondered for a moment, then looked at everyone. Obviously asking Yi Chubai and others for their opinions. Huo Qingming snorted coldly, but did not speak. Seeing Yi Chubai nodding, Xin Hongyi nodded in the same way. Zhang Wu and Lin Ce also have no objections. Wang Yuan said, "Okay, we will go to the banquet on time tonight." Seeing this, the man nodded in satisfaction, then wait for everyone to come. After speaking, several people left. Lin Ce calmly said, "This banquet is probably a grand banquet, and it is intended to find out the strength of each domain." Zhang Wu nodded and agreed. It should be for this purpose. It is estimated that showing strength will be indispensable at that time. Huang Yuan also said, "Try to keep your whole cards as much as possible, don't expose them, and focus on communication. If this time is still the last one, then our non-Yu Tibetan Taoist Academy may be taken over by others. Once the last few times, the General Academy will send other people to take over the academy. At that time, Qin Tianan will also be punished. This is what none of them want to see." So hearing these words, Huo Qingming, who was the most impulsive here, also nodded solemnly. Wang Yuan looked at Yi Chubai, and said, "Also, there may be people from the Sunset Dynasty at the banquet, you must hold back. The matter of Yi Chubai is not a secret. After all, it has spread all over Tianyuan City, and you can know the whole story with just a little inquiring." Yi Chubai's indifferent eyes couldn't help but froze, his eyebrows were lowered and he didn't speak. Seeing this, Huang Yuan didn't say anything more. After all, Yi Chubai's talent is even admired by his master. Time fast forward to evening. Wang Yuan and others went to the banquet. The banquet is held in Wutang. At this moment, there are more than 100 tables and chairs in the martial arts hall, and various kinds of food are placed on each table. However, anyone who cares can find it. The closer the tables and chairs are to the back, the more humble the food. The closer to the first seat, the more precious the food. Zhang Wu couldn't help laughing. It seems that there is a special program. As soon as the voice fell, a group of people came over from the front. Everyone should have seen the tables and chairs in front of them. Whatever you like to eat, just sit where you want. Of course, the position is won by yourself. If a table of food is liked by the same person, then you need to negotiate it yourself. This person's words are very cryptic. But the people present can also hear the meaning of these words. If you want to compete for the same table, you need to fight a lot. Whoever wins is eligible to sit down and enjoy. After the man finished speaking, he took the first seat and sat down. He said with a smile, "Of course, if you want to eat from my table, it's not impossible, as long as you have the strength to match it. Okay, everyone, take your seats." At the first moment, no one moved. However, after just counting breaths, a man walked out with a loud smile and said, "Since everyone is so humble, I will not be polite." After finishing speaking, he jumped to the position below the first place. Sitting down. "Who wants this table? You can come now." Seeing this, people came out one after another and sat at the table. It's just that no one wants to take the position yet. Chapter 37 The Way of the Sword is unprecedented. Beside the banquet, there is a courtyard. A few people are sitting among them. Is that kid the one the eldest prince wants to deal with? It should be right. Well, then I will send someone to test his depth later. It is best to force him to kill on the spot and make enemies with the people of the Tibetan Taoist Academy in the Northern Territory. Okay, I'll make arrangements. Don't worry, the eldest prince will not treat you badly after the matter is completed. Hearing this, the man was overjoyed, and made arrangements after paying respects. At the banquet, Huo Qingming, Lin Ce and Xin Hongyi were already sitting in the front seats. Zhang Wu and Huang Yuan did not participate in the principal. When Yi Chubai saw it, it seemed that it was time for dinner. In thatched cottage. Usually at this time, he has already cooked the meal, and then ate with master and junior sister. If you don't eat it, it's a bit uncomfortable. Thinking of this, Yi Chubai stepped forward. Sat in a relatively rear position. While preparing to eat, a person came over. "Hello, are you from the Southern Tibetan Academy of Taoism?" Yi Chubai didn't look back. When the rough man approached Yi Chubai, Huang Yuan and Zhang Wu also looked over. That person seems to be from the Beiyu Tibetan Taoist Academy. But it doesn't seem to be the person who participated in the exchange. I hope Yi Chubai will not be so impulsive. However, the voice just fell. The faces of the two froze. The rough man just wanted to step forward and grab Yi Chubai's shoulder, but he was shocked by Yi Chubai's breath and retreated. Yi Chubai didn't turn around, and was still eating. However, there are already swords all over his body that have turned into long swords, cutting towards the rough man. The man's face changed drastically, and the sword energy made him feel a death threat. Hurriedly put up his hands, and shields appeared in front of the man. Immediately, he took out a spell from the ring and wrapped himself layer by layer. But that shield, in front of Yi Chubai's sword energy, is like thin paper. It was directly pierced and torn apart like a dead man. That layer of spell was also cut open directly. Poof! The sword energy pierced straight into the man's chest, and a stream of blood spurted out wildly. The people around couldn't help being surprised when they saw this scene. This shot is too decisive and ruthless. Yi Chubai didn't take it seriously. After all, he was already sitting in the back, and someone would provoke him, so there was no need to think about it, it was ordered by someone. Since it was instructed by someone, then naturally you will not be polite. That person is the person who participated in the exchange at the Southern Region Tibetan Taoist Academy. Yes, it seems that the strength is good. It can only be good. When meeting Brother Jian and the others, I'm afraid they are not opponents. You are not talking nonsense. Brother Jian is such a character, but he is recognized as the #1 talent in swordsmanship in the Northern Territory. Yi Chubai also heard these words. But he didn't care much about it. Whether he is the #1 talent in Kendo, you will know after you have fought. Why did you hit so hard? He shouldn't be guilty of this, right? As expected. The man just now was just testing. Yi Chubai sneered, he had no grievances or enmities with this Baiyou Tibetan Taoist Academy. The other party is so targeted, then there is only one possibility. Someone is manipulating all of this, and that person must be someone from the Sunset Dynasty. In the Northern Territory, only the Sunset Dynasty would target Yi Chubai like this. Only the Sunset Dynasty would want his life. Someone recognized the man's identity. That's Jiuyou from the Baiyou Tibetan Taoist Academy. Although he didn't participate in the Academy exchange, he is also a well-known figure in the martial arts hall. Jiuyou was able to defeat a person who was half a step away from Qihai in the middle stage of Zifu, and now he has broken through to the peak of Zifu. I don't know how strong he has reached. On the other side, Yi Chubai heard Jiuyou's words, and couldn't help but sneered. Since you've already become someone else's dog, you must be prepared to work your life at any time. A look of surprise flashed across Jiuyou's eyes, but he still said in a deep voice, being a dog. Anyway, he is a disciple of my Baiyou Tibetan Taoism Academy. Are you afraid of causing public anger by doing this? Yi Chubai wiped his mouth and said, are you finished? Jiuyou was taken aback. Yi Chubai took out the wooden sword in his hand, turned to look at Jiuyou, and said with a cold face, now that the nonsense is over, let's do it, I guess your master can't wait. Jiuyou's face turned hard, and he punched Yi Chubai with both fists and 2 fine iron gloves. Yi Chubai looked at this scene with a calm face, shook the long sword in his hand, and the sword energy shot towards Jiuyou as if it was real. Jiuyou shouted violently, and his fists kept blasting out. Blast those streaks of sword energy to pieces. At the same time, I was slightly startled. Although the streams of sword energy were blocked, his fists were extremely painful. Sword chi invaded the bone marrow from Jiuyou's fist like a gangrene. It seems to be destroying the inside of his body. Yi Chubai saw that the sword energy was blocked, so he also went up to meet him, and slashed out with the long sword in his hand. A black sword energy covered the wooden sword. Fist and sword intersect. The sound of clang sounded. It's just that it's different from the calmness on Yi Chubai's face. Under the horror on Jiuyou's face, the fine iron glove in his hand shattered directly. Countless lines of blood burst out from both hands. With a scream, it flew upside down. People around were shocked. How is it possible? Jiuyou can't even catch a blow in his hands. Then the strength of the southern barbarian is so strong. Just looking at the breath, it seems that he is only in the middle stage of the Zifu realm. Maybe, we all underestimated the Southern Territory. In the dark, someone watched this scene with a smile of success. Yi Chubai looked around and said coldly, is there anyone else who wants to fight? See no answer. Yi Chubai lifted the wooden sword and walked towards the table and chairs. Huang Yuan frowned and said, It seems that he wants to lure out the people behind the scenes, but this method is too high profile. Zhang Wu looked at Yi Chu with white eyes thoughtfully. Yi Chubai walked forward step by step. Every step you take. Sword energy is overwhelming. One more step. Sword chi soared into the sky. Black and white sword energy constantly surrounds Yi Chubai. The momentum is terrifying. Like a god. Yi Chubai walked to the sixth seat, looked coldly at the drinking man on the seat, and said, "War." Yi Chubai is not aimlessly, this person has locked his eyes on him from the beginning. Similarly, Yi Chubai didn't want to keep a low profile. He wants to let the Sunset Dynasty understand that playing such a trick is of no use to him. Some people are dissatisfied. Slash it with one sword. Kendo is unprecedented. The drinking man raised his head, looked at Yi Chubai, and said with a chuckle, "Oh. Why should I fight you?" Yi Chubai raised his eyebrows and said, "Then you think I'm not worthy. So what? Just defeating Jiuyou makes you feel that you can challenge all the arrogance of my Beiyu Tibetan Taoist Academy." Boom. A burst of sword energy soared into the sky. The sword energy is covered with black magic energy. The sword energy swept across the man, and the man's eyes became serious. This breath has already threatened him. It doesn't look like the power that can erupt in the middle stage of Zifu realm. Now, available. Chapter 38 Sword defeated Mei Sheng. Liao Meisheng is a member of Jiantang. Similarly, he is also one of the members of this academy exchange. Strength has reached the half-step Qihai state. At the same time, Liao Meisheng was also dispatched. As long as Yi Chubai kills Jiuyou and others, Liao Meisheng will take action and kill Yi Chubai. However, before he came to the door, Yi Chubai had already spotted him. Facing the sweeping sword energy, Liao Meisheng put down the wine glass in his hand. The power of the half-step Qi realm erupted, and it was undoubtedly revealed. Constantly colliding with that black sword energy. There were countless roars in this space. If you look carefully, you can even find that the space of confrontation is constantly distorting. Then Nan Manzi fought Brother Liao. Brother Liao is a member of the Academy Exchange, and Jiuyou can't compare with him. This kid is too arrogant. Suddenly, the wine glass in Liao Meisheng's hand was hit by the sword energy and shattered into pieces. Liao Meisheng frowned slightly, and said in a cold voice, "You really want to die?" As soon as the words fell, Liao Meisheng took out the long sword, and slapped the ground with one palm. The ground cracked, and Liao Meisheng's body jumped up. The long sword in his hand struck towards Yi Chubai from bottom to top. Yi Chubai's complexion was calm, and the wooden sword was crossed. The two of them broke up instantly. For a moment, the sword energy in heaven and earth was rampant. Liao Meisheng snorted coldly, stepped on both feet, and shot towards Yi Chubai again. Seeing this, Yi Chubai also went up to meet him. Before the people arrive, the sword arrives first. The sword tips collided together, and the strands of sword energy turned into long swords with sword energy as if they were real, and they kept shooting at each other. For a while, no one could do anything to anyone. This surprised Liao Meisheng. You know, his sword energy is extremely domineering because of the skills he practiced. There are very few people who can confront it head-on. What's more, my realm is much higher than Yi Chubai's. No wonder let him shoot. Xinhong Yi, Huo Qingming and others on the side also stared at this side closely. On the side of the Tibetan Tao Academy in the eastern region, the leader said with interest, "Oh. There is such a genius of swordsmanship in the southern region. The Tibetan Tao Academy of the western regions, there should be no kendo inheritance in the southern region. This person should have worshipped a very strong figure in the kendo region as his teacher." But Liao Meisheng couldn't help feeling angry when he saw that this move didn't gain any advantage at all. The long sword in his hand suddenly shook, his body retreated violently, and then he slashed out with a sword. A sword light cut towards Yi Chubai. On the sword light, there are strands of chilling intent, and the power is extremely domineering. Yi Chubai was not in a hurry, the wooden sword in his hand was filled with black magic energy rising up. Heavenly Demon 9 Swords. Immediately, he greeted that sword glow. Passed the Heavenly Demon assessment of the Blood Sea Secret Realm. Now, Yi Chubai's sword energy is tinged with magic. In this sword light, there is even more endless killing intent. This was brought about by Yi Chubai's continuous beheading of the faceless man for several days. People around just feel this killing intent, and their minds will lose their minds in an instant. Even Liao Meisheng, who was halfway into the Qi realm, could not help trembling when he felt this killing intent. This also made him extremely annoyed, but he could kill the existence of Qi realm. Now, he was forced into this situation by a man from the south, by a person in the middle stage of the little purple mansion. This makes him have no face in the academy in the future. The domineering sword light and the black slash began to collide. In the middle, there is actually black lightning spreading towards the surroundings. Someone hastily pushed away. There were also people holding up their hands for protection. When everyone was thinking that Liao Meisheng could crush Yi Chubai, the domineering sword light did not directly shatter the slash, but fell into a faint disadvantage. It's just time to count breaths. The domineering sword glow seems to be swallowed. Immediately disappeared, the black slash continued unabated, and once again slashed at Liao Meisheng. At the same time, Yi Chubai didn't just sit still, he kicked his legs on the ground, and with the help of recoil, he rushed directly towards Liao Meisheng, slashing out with the wooden sword in his hand. Liao Meisheng's expression changed in shock. Then he snorted coldly, and also went up to meet him. Sword repairers, how could they be afraid? What's more, facing people who are lower than yourself. The next moment, Liao Meisheng's figure turned into three sword lights cut towards Yi Chubai in different directions. This sword light is not an afterimage caused by high speed, but real. Yan Wei. Everyone in the Beiyou Tibetan Taoist Academy knows that this is the sword skill that Liao Meisheng studied. The power is extremely terrifying. And can't dodge. It can only be broken with strength. Seeing this, Xinhongyi couldn't help being taken aback. If she came to receive the sword, I'm afraid she would have to sacrifice her whole card to be able to force it. However, if it is Yi Chubai, she is not worried. After all, when she was in the academy, she often competed with Yi Chubai. Although Liao Meisheng's realm is much higher, but with Yi Chubai's current strength, I'm afraid he is not enough. It's just that other people who don't understand see this scene. I already feel. Yi Chubai is finished. In front of Liao Meisheng's Yan Wei, Yi Chubai will not have any chance or room to resist. One of the sword lights collided with the black slash. The other two sword lights directly cut at Yi Chubai. Yi Chubai's face was not in the slightest panic. Unable to dodge, Yi Chubai never thought of hiding. The wooden sword in his hand exploded at this moment. A strand of magic has affected the minds of the people around. The third sword of the heavenly demon 9 swords. Sword out. The demonic energy is monstrous. Liao Meisheng's complexion changed again. Under this sword, he actually felt irresistible. 2 sword glows followed one after another, one left and one right. Yi Chubai cut out horizontally. Those 2 sword glows shattered in an instant. Liao Meisheng's complexion changed drastically, and the long sword in his hand came out horizontally. However, in this hasty defense, how could it block Yi Chubai's terrifying sword? Yi Chubai has no intention of stopping. Since you have decided to be someone else's pawn, be prepared to sacrifice at any time. Everyone also exclaimed. Someone else wants to come forward too. But obviously, it was too late to rescue. Just when everyone thought that Liao Meisheng was going to become the ghost of Yi Chubai's sword, a figure suddenly appeared between the two of them. Raise the sword and block it. Boom. There are strands of sword intent rising. Yi Chubai's sword was blocked. Sword intent. Yi Chubai frowned slightly as he looked at the man in a white robe and with long hair blowing in the wind. No, it's not sword intent yet. I just touched the threshold of sword intent and could mobilize some sword intent. However, his cultivation is indeed much higher than his own. Liao Meisheng looked at the man in front of him, and said with some shame, "Thank you Brother Jian for saving me." Brother Jian turned his head and looked at Liao Meisheng coldly. As a sword cultivator, how can he be used by others? After the academy exchange is over, I will go to Zhanfeng to face the wall by myself for 10 years. Liao Meisheng nodded and clasped his fists without any complaints. This person is the strongest arrogance of the Beiyou Tibetan Taoist Academy. Sword facing the crown. Chapter 39 Mysterious Power. Beiyou Tibetan Taoist Academy. Jian Chaomian was recognized by the Sword Hall just after entering the academy for a year. At the same time, he was also known as the #1 swordsman in the Northern Territory. Up to now, the threshold of sword intent has been touched. What kind of talent is this? Even if he is the prince of the Sunset Dynasty, when he sees Jian Chaomian, he must be called his peer. Once, the ruler of the Sunset Dynasty also personally invited Jian Chaomian to join the Sunset Dynasty, and provided countless resources for him to practice. However, Jian Chaomian is devoted to sword cultivation and does not want to join the court. This is the end. Jian Chaomian had no expression on his face, he couldn't tell whether it was sadness or joy. He looked at Yi Chubai and said, "Junior brother Jianxin is not enough, you are making a fool of yourself." Yi Chubai looked at Jian Chaomian, could it be that this person is also the opponent's pawn? Jian Chaomian seemed to see Yi Chubai's thoughts, shook his head and said, "Don't worry, no one ordered me, and I will not be ordered by others." The tone is normal, but full of pride. This is not blind pride. It's his pride as a sword repairman that doesn't allow him to do this. After finishing speaking, he left this place. Yi Chubai looked at Jian Chaomian thoughtfully. In the dark, there are two people watching this scene. Oh. It seems that Yi Chubai still has some strength. Being able to defeat Liao Meisheng is indeed quite powerful. Then when are you going to do it? The brocade-robed man chuckled and said, he doesn't need me to do it himself. Someone will deal with him when the time comes. Today is just a test. After speaking, a black shadow disappeared from the darkness. At the same time, Yi Chubai and his party returned to their residence. Wang Yuan looked at Yi Chubai, and asked, "Yi Chubai, why are you so impulsive? It's fun to show off for a while, but your trump card has also been exposed." Yi Chubai glanced at Huang Yuan, and understood his mood. After all, Huang Yuan is Qin Tianan's disciple. The level of the southern region Tibetan Taoist Academy has been so low in recent years, once it becomes the bottom one in the 4 regions again this time. Then, Qin Tianan will be replaced as the dean. This is what the wasteland doesn't want to see. Therefore, Yi Chubai was not angry, and said calmly, "The problem is not too big, don't worry." After all, he does not only have the trump card of the demonic 9 swords. What's more, the 9 swords of heavenly demon can't be counted as a trump card. Wang Yuan said coldly, "I hope so." After speaking, Wang Yuan walked into the room and began to practice. Zhang Wu patted Yi Chubai on the shoulder and persuaded, "Don't be angry, it's just that this exchange is too important to Huang Yuan." Yi Chubai nodded, but he was not angry. At the same time. On the other side of the northern region, the land of the extreme north. A woman holding a long gun is walking on the extreme Arctic ice sheet. Wind and snow. Until you come to a big rift valley. The Great Rift Valley is like an abyss. Bottomless. Among them, there is an upward cold current rising continuously. In that mid-air, there is a faintly visible restriction. This prohibition has no power, but it prohibits the air, making it impossible for people to fly. The cold current seems to ignore the protection of spiritual energy, it can pierce the skin and go straight into the bone marrow. There was a boulder rolling down, and it was directly cut into powder by the cold current. The woman didn't have the slightest scruples, and jumped down directly. The cold snap hit the woman. However, just touching the body, it was melted by a red flame. Fire artistic conception. After a while, when it was about to fall to the bottom, the woman took out her spear and swung it down. A shot of gun force suddenly shot out. Hitting on the ice layer, a recoil force directly slowed down the falling speed of the woman. Immediately, the spear slashed across the ice on both sides. Let your figure fall firmly to the bottom. The woman looked around, and there were chains in front of her. The chains are like cold iron. Nailed firmly in the ice next to it. And the chain is to lock a man. The man's long hair was scattered on the ground, and his head was hanging on the ground. The woman couldn't help but look angry when she saw this scene. The man seemed to feel the breath of the woman in front of him, raised his head slightly, and seemed a little sluggish. "Your Majesty. Your Majesty." Hongying nodded, stepped forward, and said, "You have suffered." The man shook his head, and there were strands of flames igniting in his dull eyes, and he said a little excitedly, "Your Majesty has found it," proving that the cultivation method is successful. Hearing this, Hongying nodded. Seeing this, although the man was extremely weak, he still smiled excitedly, "God bless me, Yunwang." Hongying twitched the corners of her mouth and said, "Yunming, I will break your seal now." Now, the seal here is just restrained by Hongying's kung fu. In addition, with the reincarnation marksmanship, it is not very difficult to break the chains that are starting to weaken. As for the cage of the blood prison secret realm, it was because the restrictions within it had not disappeared with the passing of time, which made Hongying have to leave first. Yunming nodded. Hongying took out the spear. A sense of reincarnation erupted from the body. At the same time, the spear was not only covered with the meaning of reincarnation, but also had flames like fire snakes winding around the spear. When the meaning of reincarnation reached a peak, Hongying shot out with a single shot. The first style of reincarnation marksmanship. Boom. The meaning of reincarnation continues to explode. Straight into the sky. The tip of the long spear pierced the chain. In just a split second, the chains began to tremble violently. Make the clang of refined iron. And the ice layer began to have cracks extending towards the surrounding area. Yunming looked at this scene, and couldn't help being surprised in his eyes. This marksmanship is stronger than His Majesty's previous marksmanship. Even more subtle. It can be said that compared with the previous exercises, it is not at the same level at all. Hongying saw that the ice layer was beginning to crumble, and the chains were overwhelmed. Then the second shot came out horizontally. The force of the gun hit the space, causing ripples. Reincarnation marksmanship, the second style. Finally, fell on the chain. Boom. The chains are broken. The cracks in the ice are like baby arms. And still expanding. On Yunming's body, a faint aura of cultivation began to float. Obviously, the ban has begun to relax. Immediately, Hongying drank in a deep voice. The third type of reincarnation marksmanship is launched. Fell heavily on the chain. Click click click. The chains are completely broken. The ice layer also began to break layer by layer. Hongying grabbed Yunming's clothes and stepped towards the top of the rift valley. The moment he stepped out, the ice rift valley completely collapsed. The Great Rift Valley was covered by ice and disappeared from then on. Yunming stood in front of Hongying, and suddenly knelt down on one knee. Respectfully said, "Nine Heavens Division Yunming, willing to fight with His Majesty again in the heavens." Hongying nodded, and said, "Now, you are still very weak, so follow me and slowly recover." The subordinate understands. And at this moment, on the other side of this dimension, a few figures with unfathomable aura are observing the four domains. Chapter 41st Round of Communication. Above this world, there are four figures standing in the void. Look down. The atmosphere in that world was turbid, and in mid-air, there were countless collapsing powers of rules. This is the collapsed way of heaven. One of the men said, "You mean, there is an unfathomable strong man in this barren land, who has cultivated the power of Taoism?" Yes. A blue-faced man nodded and said, "But I guess, it should come from a world with higher latitudes. If Lu Changsheng was here, he would definitely be able to recognize it." This person was the one who confronted him at the top of the blood prison secret realm. It can only be people who come from a higher latitude world. After all, the way of heaven collapsed in this barren land, and the power of rules turned into fragments. It is impossible to realize the rules of the way. Just among them, there are still two doubts. A female voice came out. "Oh. What doubts?" The blue-faced man looked over and said solemnly, "First, why do people from higher latitudes take a fancy to this wild land? It is impossible for the secrets of this world to be spread. Outgoing. The second point is how they got into it. Now this world is sealed, and they can't get in or get out. Even we can only project into this world at a high price." One of the men shook his head and said, "I don't know, but I think the four of us should be able to solve that person by projection." The woman also nodded. "This is a factor of instability, we cannot let him destroy our plan." "Good." The black-clothed figure who had not spoken the whole time nodded and said, "Then get ready, set off immediately, and get rid of that person. Say it." The four of them disappeared in place, as if they had never appeared before. The day passed. The four-domain academy exchange has also officially started. Yi Chubai and others also went to the exchange venue. Wang Yuan kept reminding on the road, and said solemnly, "At that time, you must avoid being eliminated, and I will block the opponent's leader." Immediately, he looked at Yi Chubai again, and said casually, "Yi Chubai, your task is to hide yourself as much as possible and get more points in the dark." Now that your strength is exposed, the opponent will definitely compete against you to formulate tactics. Quote. Huang Yuan is a disciple of the dean, so he naturally knows the flow of the exchange competition. The first exchange of martial arts is the points system. All participants will be sent to Qingyun Mountain. You can get points by defeating monsters. Of course, if you encounter an enemy and are defeated by the enemy, you will lose all points and be eliminated. Xin Hongyi stood beside Yi Chubai, jokingly said, "It seems that you have been looked down upon." Yi Chubai did not refute, but shrugged. Arrived at the exchange venue. People from the Four Regions Academy also gathered here. Beiyou Tibetan Taoist Academy is led by Jian Chaomian. Liao Meisheng stood behind him with a gloomy expression. Seeing Yi Chubai coming, he couldn't help but look murderous. Yi Chubai ignored it. The leader of the Eastern Territory is Shi Sheng. His physical strength is extremely terrifying, but he is born with divine power. The Western region is Zhonghe, who cultivates the Buddhist Vajra body, and no one can break it, and his palms are even more domineering. Zhang Wu explained from the side. He will not participate in the martial arts exchange, he is the candidate for the Confucianism and Taoism exchange. As for the Northern Territory, it's the Sword Dynasty crown. At this time, in the sky, 4 figures came together. Among them, Qin Tianan is among them. The other 3 are, of course, the principals of other 3 domain academy. When everyone saw this, they all saluted to that side. Among them, one of the 4 stepped out. He is the dean of the Beiyou Tibetan Taoist Academy, Wood. Similarly, he is also ranked 12th in the 4 domains martial arts ranking. Compared with Qin Tianan, he is 14 places higher. It is also enough to prove that Wood is much stronger than Qin Tianan. Wood waved his hand, and suddenly a void force lifted everyone present. Today is the time for our Tibetan Taoist Academy in the 4 regions to hold an exchange competition. Today, the talents of various academies are gathered here, which is also a great event for my Tibetan Taoist Academy. Today is the martial arts exchange first. Everyone should understand the rules of the first round. I and the other 3 deans will send you to the Qingyun mountain range. After finishing speaking, the 4 deans took a step forward. Below them, a teleportation array rose slowly. With the injection of aura by the 4 people, the space around the teleportation array began to distort. At this time, Wood said, "Okay, the students participating in the martial arts exchange should enter the teleportation array." After speaking, the students from the 4 domains began to step in one after another. And when Yi Chubai took a step forward, a voice came over. "I'm counting on you," is Qin Tianan's voice. Yi Chubai looked over and found that Qin Tianan was looking at him. Seeing this, Yi Chubai nodded. Even if it's not for Tibetan Taoist Academy, it's not for Qin Tianan. For the sake of the master and the thatched cottage, Qin Tianan should also be allowed to be the dean of the hospital. After all, if there is a new dean, can the thatched cottage still be as detached as before? Yi Chubai does not allow this kind of accident to happen. Thinking of this, Yi Chubai stepped forward and stepped into the teleportation array. There was a whirlwind. What comes into view is a lush green shade. Countless towering ancient trees reach into the sky. However, Yi Chubai could detect it sensitively. This place has a vaguely demonic aura. Suddenly, the dark demon sword began to shake. Yi Chubai could feel the excitement of the dark demon. Obviously, the magic energy here is extremely pure. I'm afraid that here, Yi Chubai's demonic 9 swords will also be more powerful. At this moment, a stone appeared in Yi Chubai's hands. There is a number printed on the surface of the stone. But the number at the moment is 0. This should be the points. To gain points, either kill monsters, or plunder other people. At this time, Yi Chubai turned around, and not far away, there was a roar coming towards him. A huge cloud of dust. In the dust, there is a faint 4-legged monster rushing. Roar. A roar, the sound wave actually carried a sonic boom. It is estimated that people in the Golden Core realm will not be able to resist the sound of the sonic boom, and will be directly shattered. Yi Chu was holding the white wooden sword in his hand, and slowly swung it forward. Sword energy is everywhere. Offset that sonic boom. At the same time, countless sword chi circled around Yi Chubai's body. It turned into huge air swords, and slashed towards the running 4-legged monster. The 4-legged monster seemed to have a bit of wisdom. Seeing the sword chi coming, it felt the crisis, and did not choose to face it head-on. Instead, he slammed into the ground with all 4 feet, stopping his forward figure. Immediately, he jumped to the side again, avoiding the oncoming destructive sword energy. However, in the next instant, Yi Chubai's figure had disappeared in place. In the blink of an eye, he came in front of the 4-legged monster. Slash with a sword. The head fell to the ground without even making a sound. Yi Chubai took out the scoring stone to have a look. The above 0 has risen to 10. Thank you for watching. Continue exploring the fascinating world of Chinese novels with us. Hit that subscribe button on Chinese Novel Audiobook to stay updated with our latest stories, and never miss out on a great listen.